Even out, settle scores quick. Our disaster recovery requires even more discs. Put your pipes up, prove it or you forfeit. Got my C64 and we blew it into orbit. M. Bison with 8 straight perfects. Overbold emotions make hate break circuits. In case you heard, it's a named fake service. Optimize our runtime to escape verdicts. Got an integer scope flow that they can't sign. Passing code, didn't sanitize command lines, landmine. So before they'll see me after, I'm advice star, courage, woke plus velociraptor. Don't prove we're human unless we really have to. My team built schemes that destroy, recapture. Hate what they see, finish this chapter. By the way, we're not any geeks, we hack into NASA. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring. I'm just waiting till my BlackBerry dies, cause I'll replace it with the Raspberry Pi. Don't compare to this track, it makes everything they said dull. Neutralize any threat, turn Red Skull to Dev Null. They killed virus writers that we mentioned, but instead they ascended to the VX heavens to reincarnate as live wires. Still inside we hide ciphers and sign device drivers. Which school will we hit next? They didn't learn the format, so we've got a print F. Next step is a chin check. Freestyles that I spit best, they didn't decrypt yet. I crush internet MCs and rhyme battles. Get your Wi-Fi tackled, hacked by pineapple. I don't think you'll like my Snapple, cause I popped it with vodka in a cyanide capsule. We drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things.
You know there's gonna be security, right?
First we drink all the booze, then hack all the things. Then backdoor the firmware on anything you bring, regardless of the hardware, service or encoding. Connected to the internet and someone's gonna own it. This is for the pirates that clap and love the sound. Attacking from the cloud, then we're back in underground. There's no masking from us now. We pop tour nodes around the globe, track and hunt you down. Packed on schedule, add it to your calendar. Devices online, here comes another challenger. State infiltrated, so undercover. This is for my comrades who stare at the debuggers and trace every buffer. Examining the code flow, haven't been to sleep, better pop another no-dose. I think I'll need a planet-sized urn, cause some men just wanna watch the world burn. Your turn.
Stay out of jail.
Technologically possible, yeah.
Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring.
I mean, these servers have more firewalls than the devil's bedroom.
Hack all the things. Drink all the booze. Hack all the things. Hack all the things. Hack all the things. Things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring. Hack all the things.
Yeah, well, good luck, man.
They still give me wings. Drink all the things. Drink all the vodka and pack all the booze. Drink all the booze. Hack all the hackers. Hack all the
Not every geek with a Commodore 64 can hack into NASA.
This one's dedicated to all the hackers. Yo, even out, settle scores quick.
Well, welcome to UHC tonight. Welcome, everyone. I am your host tonight here at UHC. This is the English channel. If you don't know me, I'm Marina Chapada. I'm a social engineer. We are back for one more round of UHC. Tonight is the 21st edition, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of editions. UHC CTF is run by Hacking Esports, which is a Brazilian company. It was created by Igor Rincon. He founded Hacking Esports company and turned UHC, Ultimate Hacking Championship, into its first hacking championship. The goal is to have a lot of other ones and to turn CTF into an esport on the long run. Using CTF as a learning platform and engaging as many people as we can during the live streams. So we do have narrators on a live CTF, which is quite rare to see. We believe UHC is quite a pioneer on that field. There's a whole set of UHC social media profiles like Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter. So if you want to close deals and sponsorships, you can find us on LinkedIn, or you can just follow us on Instagram for news, Twitter as well. Twitter is focused on the English speakers. YouTube has all the past editions, so if you would like to check out past editions with other guests such as Moose, for example, or even IPSEC, you can find all of those on our YouTube channel. And there's also Discord, the Discord server, where you can meet all the players and UHC fans as well. So most of them speak Portuguese, but a lot of them also speak English. So we are kind of like a bilingual community. Everyone is welcome. You can play the qualifying round of UHC if you are on the Discord server. It happens every Saturday just before the finals here. Now on Sunday are what we call the finals. So if you were interested in playing live, you can play the qualifying rounds back on the UHC Discord server. For you to know the Discord server, just type ! Commands on chat, and the bot should give you the link. And whenever the bot does that, I'll put the link here on the screen so y'all can watch, can see the link here as well. If you want to meet new people, if you want to play CTF together, other CTFs as well, our community does that a lot together through the Discord. Be sure to participate. Follow UHC on the social medias too. I would like to thank all the sponsors and partners. We have a bunch of them up here, as you can see. So I would like to thank Crowsack and Bug Hunt and Hackaty Inc. They are all Brazilian companies sponsoring tonight's match. And without them, we wouldn't be able to, put money on the prizes for the kids tonight, which is a thing. Tonight, the winner is going to walk out with $100. And it's $100 prize each week. So that's pretty nice. At the end of the month, you have like a really nice cash you earned playing CTF on Twitch. So, kind of an alternative way of making money. I kind of apologize a little bit for my struggling English. I am not a American or anything like that. I am Brazilian as well, just as UHC and Hacking Esports are. The outreach, though, it's pretty cool. UHC has this huge community filled with talented people and dedicated fans. So before I invite my co-host, I would like to, tell a little bit more about the sponsors and partners here. So Crowsack is pretty well known back in Brazil because they have a very, very good trainings on web hacking and pen testing. So if you like CTF and you would like to work with stuff that you do on live CTFs, Crowsack has all that. Bug Hunt is a bug bounty platform back in Brazil that is, helping a lot of companies to find good researchers and hackers to help them. And Hackaty Inc., which is my company, it is a marketing and communications and trainings company focused on InfoSec focused on cybersecurity and hacking, because we do understand that talking about security and talking about hacking may be a little bit hard once in a while, and we're just here to help. We all want to speak the same language. Well. So now I would like to invite my beautiful co-host here. And here he is. Hi.
Hi, I'm blushing.
Yes, you are, sweetie. He's also my husband.
Still blush
do
when
you
you
want
call me
to
beautiful.
you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am the beautiful co-host, aka ENG, the rapper in dual core. I hack computers and make rap music, and I'm married to Marina, very luckily. And yeah, I love CTF. I've played CTF for years, and it's really cool doing UHC every week and seeing what these kids come up with. I feel like even though I've been in the game for a while, I still learn something new every single week. So it's been an amazing experience, and I'm really excited to see what we've got going on tonight. On the music side, I've got a dual core album in the works with the other half of dual core, C64, on the beats and production and mixing. I've got a couple solo EPs that I've been working on. One is completely done. Everything's done. I just haven't released it. The other one is like 1.5 songs from being done. And I've got a Troubleshooters album with my good friend Michael Kill that is all written but hasn't been recorded. And also Michael Kill did the production on those 2 solo EPs as well. But that's all rap music stuff. And in my hacking time, I've been playing a bunch of Hack the Box because it's pretty addicting and I like learning. But yeah, that's about it for me.
All right, so I guess we should bring our next co-host of the night, the sweet, the amazing, the legendary Dave.
Hello. I don't know about legendary. That might be elevating a little bit, but it's nice to be back. This is my triumphant return to commentating. Yep, numero tres. We're at 3 now. Yeah, I also hack computers. I also make some rap music. And that's what I do. Yeah.
Peas in a pod, you and I did.
Peas in a pod.
In fact, I kind of noticed you got something. There's a pattern back behind you that looks very similar to a pattern that's on my screen.
Yeah, actually,
look at that.
This is my idea for a shirt too. I worked with Dustrial on this shirt. It's based on the Hackers movie, the bouncy virus at Ellingson Mineral, and I really wanted it on a hoodie. And so I started coming up with the idea, and I hit up Dustrial for it, and now everybody gets this super comfy hoodie. It's pretty great.
Big ups to Dustrial for making it happen, and big ups to you for coming up with the design. And I actually got this hoodie from you in person the last time that we saw each other, which was at RSA earlier this year before the pandemic spiked, and we got to rap together.
I forgot all about that. That was
six lifetimes ago.
Yeah, it was forever ago. I was so surprised to see you wearing it. I didn't even know I gave it to you. I was like,
yep. Yeah, safely transported all the way back to Austin, Texas, and COVID-free.
Yep, perfect.
All right, y'all. I do also recommend Dustrial a lot. Like I'm in love with everything they do. Like even the social media is super cool. They have like really cool hacking and tech patterns. So it's really nice to see those kinds of things. Like back in Brazil, we also have like a Imaginário Nerd, which is like a nerd imaginary or something like that. And they have like a bunch of t-shirts and, hoodies and caps, all with like hacking themes. And I find that just like, it's so cool to see that hacking is such a culture that now became like a huge wearable thing as well. It's not just like for complete weirdos. You can actually find stuff that you like to wear.
Yeah, you can get a little more flashy than just the standard issue black T-shirt, which was my uniform for years.
The standard hacker attire of jeans and conference T-shirt.
Yes,
which are cool. I mean, if you're there, That's nice. That's cool.
That's true. I have a whole closet full of conference t-shirts. So
I was gonna say that is almost the entire composition of my wardrobe. How to do wardrobe on a budget, start a moderately successful rap career, and just go collect free clothing from the shows that you play at conferences.
the real long game there.
Yes, yeah.
So the qualifying rounds happened yesterday, and we had it was very hard, I guess, because we almost didn't got the 10 players that we should have. So it was like very last minute, but we do have the 10 players for tonight. So what's gonna happen tonight is this 10 players. They're going to be all, on Discord with us. Each of them will have their own private room on Discord. They cannot attack each other's room or attack the infrastructure as well. They can only go for whatever is on, the CTF scope and the CTF, built infrastructure. They do have to stream their screens all of the time. If they go out, if they go offline with the streams, they have around 5 minutes to come back, as like if they have any like internet issues or VPN issues or anything like that, because otherwise they would be disqualified. We do not accept anything towards hate speech or anything inadequate or inappropriate, like sexism or racism or anything like that. That also can disqualify the player. I guess that's pretty much it. That we'll have like 3 hours total tonight for the CTF. So this is like a fast-paced CTF. If you don't know what a CTF is or how long does a CTF takes to happen, it's we can tell a little bit about the CTF story throughout the championship. But for traditional CTF, 3 hours is very little. They will have around 3 or 4 flags tonight. Being one easy, medium, and hard one, and probably then the root flag. And whoever submits all the flags, the championship just ends there. So they have 3 hours. If they don't reach all the flags in 3 hours, that's okay. The one that got more points is the winner. But if someone gets all the flags in less than those 3 hours, then the CTF is over, and the person that submitted all of them is the winner. And that can vary. I mean, we had all kinds of crazy stuff happening here. We had at some point a kid just did the entire CTF in 20 minutes. Past week, we had the entire CTF done in like 30 or 40 minutes. Also was very quick. So we have like kind of record breaking, CTFs going on.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, and we never know what we're going to get because we don't know what the challenges are, and the challenges vary from week to week. Every week, everything is new. So the Saturday preliminary rounds are all unique. The Sunday finals are all unique, and so they're not necessarily associated either. So you might have people that finish in the top 10 on Saturday, and they're like really good at the types of challenges that were in the Saturday round. But then on Sunday, there's completely different types of challenges. And like you might not have as much experience or the tooling or whatever to get through there as fast. So we definitely have some weeks where we end up going the entire 3 hours and we get to like, I guess, 8 p.m. Central Time, and people have only collected 1 or 2 flags. But other weeks, as Marina said, sometimes people just cruise through these challenges. It was nuts last week watching Salacian go. There was like a prototype pollution bug, and I think Salacian actually ended up skipping a flag and getting like the 3rd and then 4th flag, and then having to come back to get the 2nd flag. So it was all like in a matter of like 30 to 40 minutes, as Marina said. So we never know what to expect.
We can expect a very fun night because let's just introduce our players tonight and get to know a little bit more of whoever is qualified here, and then we can make our bets. Let me just put here on the screen and let's talk about our players tonight. All right. So, okay, we already starting with Salesian.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just call it. That's it.
That's it, y'all. End of the live stream. So Legion is our current champion. He won last week. The UHC CTF happens every week, every Sunday. And so Legion won the 20th edition, and he did it all in like 40 minutes. So it was insane because we had Ipsec with us. And we were hoping to have him for like 3 hours, go through a bunch of the CTF, and the kid just wrecked the entire CTF because, funny enough, Silesian is a huge IPSEC fan, so he studied really freaking hard to just impress IPSEC. Oh man, that was so cool. All right, next one we have Luska. All right, Luska also won. He won, what, 2 weeks ago? Something like that?
Yeah, 2 weeks if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so Luska is a very young kid as well. He's like around 16 or 17 years old. And he is a fan of Data as well, yes. As we have here on our chats. And Luska kind of started growing up with us. He started playing CTF kind of with UHC, and we saw him coming back week after week and getting better and better till at this week he just suddenly won, and we were very happy to see that. So yeah, maybe he's like on the competition tonight and he could beat Silesian. That would be very, very cool to see.
Yeah, I feel like Luska keeps improving, as you said, week after week, which is pretty cool. And TJ, thanks for joining us. We'll be showing hackers doing their thing throughout the broadcast, and so hopefully it'll be helpful to you as well.
All right, our next player is Mateus. All right, we've seen him here before. And I think he played 2 weeks already, and this is his third, maybe.
That sounds about right. I remember he was on last week, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. All right, we have Waid. Waid is a veteran. Waid has already won a few UHC editions in the past. So, wow, tonight is like a bunch of champions here.
The heavy hitters edition.
Yeah, this is going to be good. And I was missing Waid because Waid is like taking a break, I think, the past couple of weeks, hasn't been on. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see him back.
All right. Let's see who else we have. We have a Smoke Nerd. I've seen Smoke Nerd here a few times already. I had not seen him in one yet.
I always think of Chris Tucker's character in Friday every time I see the name Smoke Nerd. Smoke it!
All right, we have Bigos as well, another player that is a veteran. He has already played a few of UHC editions. We have yet to see him win, so he is still not a champion. Not if I remember right. But we have a bunch of veterans and champions here. Tonight's gonna be like a huge match. All right, finally, yeah. I guess one newcomer.
Felipe, I think, has been on in the past, right?
Oh, right.
I think Felipe was on one of the times I was on.
Yeah, you're right. He shortened his name. He usually go for Felipe Vasco or Felipe Vasque, and now I guess he's Felipe Vaz. One day Felipe is just gonna be Felipe,
Or just F.
Yeah, we're just F. Embrace your name, kid. Oh boy! All right. We have
after Felipe is F, it'll be like out of bounds index read error. Sorry, go ahead.
We have Reno Zion, I guess that's the name.
Yeah, I see him in Discord, and they've got their name is separated, Reno and then Zion. So I by itself together I would have guessed Renosian or something like that, but I think I'm just gonna go with Reno for this one.
All right. So we also have Taz, I guess Taz, also a newcomer. So 2 newcomers finally.
All right.
Okay, another veteran here. We have Galito. Galito has already played a lot of UHC editions. He always scores, which is super nice to watch. I don't remember if he ever won though.
I feel like Galito might have won once, but I'm shaky on that, so don't hold me to it.
All right. And that's all of our players tonight. Our 10 players tonight. This should be fun. And that's it. Let me stop sharing the screen and let's go for our matches. Oh, by the way, y'all, we do have the store online tonight on Twitch, and you can also bet coins as well. So here on Twitch, if you use the chat, you will win hacking coins, which are just, points, a point system from Twitch. And with those points, you can purchase things on the Twitch store. So you can purchase like screen time of the player that you would like to watch. You can purchase, questions for us or questions for the players at the end of the game while we go through, the interview with the winner. You can buy all kinds of stuff with the coins.
Hey, what's up, IPSec?
What's up, IPSec?
This is actually a hoodie that I got from Dade. And Dade's got his matching hoodie somewhere right over there. Yeah, there it is. And for TJ, who asked earlier, how does this work? Other folks that are watching who might be curious. What we've got is CTF infrastructure, right? So there's systems that were set up that were intended to be hacked for this competition. And then there are 10 players that are all in Discord. And so they're each in their own, like, essentially isolation booth. And we can select on their rooms and watch their screens. And that's what we'll do through the broadcast. But they can't see each other's screens, right? And so they're going to be hacking their way through these systems, collecting or capturing flags, which are proof of their access as they work their way through. And then we'll just kind of be talking about what they're doing, what we're seeing, what we're thinking about, how we would kind of approach the situation that we're witnessing. So it looks like they've started. I see hacking happening right now.
Yes, we have already started. I would just like to say, if you want to bet on the winners, you can bet the points as well. We do have a betting going on. So yeah, you can. I guess you can gamble with Twitch points on whoever is gonna win tonight.
Do we have like a lifetime scoreboard so I can see who's won previously? Like, I'm in the business of risk mitigation. I need to figure out how to appropriately handle this.
I think Salesian and Waid are the ones that won the most here.
Yeah, I think so. But yes, as a risk enthusiast, I would also like to know the odds.
So, exclamation point and points. If you write that in the chat, you know how many points do you have. The store link is already in the chat. The betting contest is going to be in the chat like real fast. There it is. And here on the screen now, you can see the scoreboard link, which is going to show the actual scoreboard for the CTF tonight, and which we're going to keep looking at it to see who's winning and who's submitting flags.
Nice. So we've got Salesian on the screen right now. And again, Salesian is our winner from last week and a multi-time champ. Did it in near record time last week in about 30 to 40 minutes, something like that. It was amazing. I see on the right side, so it looks like they had a burp, or maybe they don't have burp up, and that's why they're getting the error. But they got some web app with something with like namespaces and cubes and pods. So to me, that says something like it's maybe a Kubernetes challenge. I see 22, 80, and 111 open on the ports there from the Nmap scan. So 22 being SSH, 80 being the web server, and also a dope wrapper. And 111 apparently RPC. What? I gotta get it in there. Sorry.
A little shameless plug there.
Just a little shameless plug.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact: things like the Kubernetes default port and other kind of more recent services don't show up. They aren't in Nmap's top 1,000. So if Kubernetes is running, might have missed it.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I see in the output there for the Nmap results that it says not shown 997 ports, right? So by default, Nmap only scans its 1,000 most frequently or top frequently known ports, but there's like 65,535 or 536 ports if you count zero. So there's literally 64,000 and change ports that have not been scanned yet, right? And as we well know, like port scanning is an initial step in reconnaissance. You're trying to find services that are available that you might be able to attack. I wonder if there's maybe some VPN issues because I see Silesian kind of like disconnecting and reconnecting to the VPN. So maybe there's a potential VPN issue there. Why don't we check on somebody else? I see Dade, you're over at Mateus.
I'm just cruising through right now. I'm looking around. I think a lot of people are looking at Kubernetes stuff, so they're trying to figure out kind of what's the first step here now that we know that we're looking at some Kubernetes stuff.
Yeah, I wonder what it was that gave them the tip that it's Kubernetes to go look at.
I think I saw somebody's page where it was just like on the web server. It said like "Welcome to Kate's."
Nice.
So I think there was like a hint there, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a page that looked pretty custom, not something I'd ever seen before. So
we should add like an option to the store where the CTF players can spend like 1 billion coins and then dial a lifeline to like Ian Coldwater, and then they can get the Kubernetes hacks from Ian.
Yeah, this is an honorary Ian challenge.
Yes.
I do believe in the Portuguese version of our live because we have the Brazilian live as well. Their store you can buy hints if I'm not mistaken. I'm just making sure of it, but I guess you can buy hints throughout the championship.
I'll say you can buy hints because I don't have to be correct when I say it.
Right. I can level all the allegations that I want. It doesn't matter. Can we make the screen full screen for Waid?
Yeah, we can. Staff just confirmed me. Yes, in the Brazilian live, they can people from the chat can use their coins to buy hints for the players. It has a limit, of course, and the staff can choose in which point of the championship they want to actually showcase the hints. So it could be out of nowhere, and then like probably 15 minutes before the championship's over, the staff decides to put all the hints up. It's just a surprise.
Nice. IPSEC with a good tip in the chat about busted cube Kate if you want to read about Kubernetes blog stuff. That will be next on my reading list apparently.
I've pulled it up. There's an Easter egg video on the front page that looks like it's a Puppet Busta Rhymes kind of video. So I'm gonna look forward to watching that later.
Amazing, very relevant to our interests.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know much about Kubernetes, and as I mentioned earlier, one of the reasons that I love doing UHC is that I learn something new every week, and so this will definitely be a learning experience for me as we go through the challenges here. TJ asking in the chat what burp is for, and burp is a proxy which can catch the requests that your browser or other programs make going out to some remote service, and then it can also show you the responses that come back as well. And so you can then start manipulating those as they come and go. And a common technique is to like try to find bugs by taking a request, changing part of it, and then playing that modified request out to the server, seeing what happens, and then going from there.
Yeah, and also shout out to Portswigger for like not just like the work they do on burp, but they have a whole web security like basically class that you can take for free. And like, I mean, I've done a lot of web hacking stuff, and there's still like so much kind of interesting and niche stuff to get into. And they have like workshops that you can do, all that kind of stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, I see bug bounty. I mean, I've done web stuff for years, and I'm not ever like I've never felt especially skilled at it, but I've gotten my feet wet, no problem. And I see people that do bug bounty stuff, and they just come up with like the wildest things that I would never think of. They've got like weird cross-site scripting, like WAF bypasses. They've got like weird bug classes that they find that I just never would have thought of before, or like the way they chain certain vulnerabilities together to make something really bad happen is always fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. In bug hunting and like CTFs and stuff, like the way you can chain vulnerabilities together, especially with stuff like HTTP request smuggling, and then you chain that with like injection attacks and stuff on like backend services. Is like, I don't know. I work in big corporate environments. I've never had to do any of that stuff. It's different levels of the ball game, and it's just like wild how complicated it can get from like fundamental building blocks.
Absolutely. And, Dade, I have a question for you, question for people that are watching. What do you recommend for somebody that has, a good foundation with doing web app testing, but they really want to get better at using Burp to like in a more advantageous fashion? Is there like a resource or any particular like site or set of challenges that you've seen that are really good for leveling up your Burp Suite skills?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, so I don't actually use Burp that much. I don't know. I'm a fan of the dev tools and curl, but like the same company that makes Burp Suite has a whole web security academy that I got warned for posting the link, but it literally is like all of the instructions are about how to use Burp to do it. And so like it's helpful to also just learn how to use Burp instead of like just learning how to do you're learning two sets of skills at the same time.
IPSEC, make sure you tweet that about using the Comic Sans font as like hashtag bug bounty tips or like hashtag bug bounty.
Yeah, hashtag bug bounty tips. I'll retweet that. That's beautiful advice.
That's definitely a way to escalate the severity of your of your finding.
I used to do that to people when I had pair programming. I would switch my text editor to Comic Sans before turning on the screen share. Doesn't bother me, it bothers them. It's perfect.
I think this is a wonderful idea because I have to put like screenshots in like my pull requests sometimes for code reviews at work. And so now I know to change my font to Comic Sans before I take the screenshots and then submit the pull request. So good to know. Good thinking. As if I don't troll enough at work already.
Yeah, it'll either get your pull request, like they'll just accept it right away, or you'll be immediately denied and have to resubmit. But it's like 50-50. It's worth it,
Yeah.
The code change looks good. The way you did it's bad.
Right. Yeah. Your markdown is bad and you should feel bad. Well rooted in the chat, agreeing with you, Dave, that Portswigger's content is in fact the best. And what up, Shell? Thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Hi, Shell. I need to go resubscribe to Shell because he's got the coolest he's got the hackers smiley pirate emote, and I lost it because I forgot to resubscribe months ago. Gonna fix that later.
All right, so we're looking at Galito right now on screen, and I see the Welcome to K8S landing page there. It looked like they had Fuff going on the right side, and then maybe they switched to a different shell. And I guess it also looks like they're running Parrot, and I don't know if we've seen any or many of the players run Parrot thus far. I know, IPSEC uses the Parrot box for HTB or for Hack the Box. But I'm always still amazed that there's like this whole variety of platforms for hacking, right? Like I think Waid is using Windows. I see like people use Kali commonly, but I love that the hackers don't make the tool, or the tools don't make the hackers make the tools, right?
Yeah. I'm on Windows right now. I have no shame,
Yeah.
I've seen a few things happening. I think a lot of people are like trying to find Kubernetes like API endpoints. They're trying to find common Kubernetes ports. One person I saw was installing kube control on their local machine, presumably to try to hook up to the remote cluster. So yeah, lots of fun little Kubernetes stuff happening. But people are Googling in Portuguese, and I have no idea what they're Googling for. So
yeah, Marina, how do you say Kubernetes in Portuguese?
Kubernetes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
well, it's the same
pretty
thing
straightforward then. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It'd be amazing if it was something like completely different, like it's like the trash container technology or something like that. It's like some like long string of swear words, and they're like, "This is how you say Kubernetes in Portuguese."
Someone Googled AF sockets Kubernetes. Just reminded me of the AF talk. Nice. A certain skilled hacker.
With some screaming goats and everything.
Some screaming goats.
Oh man, that was like I think my worst set of demos too at DEF CON, at least. Like everywhere else they seemed to go okay, but at DEF CON there was some XFCE bug and I couldn't do my SD card demo, and my like Android demo was so dumb because all it did is turn the phone off.
Well, that's the law of demos, I think, right? So
yeah. I'm sure I'll never be invited back to present at DEF CON, but as long as I can keep rapping at DEF CON, I'm okay with that. It's fine.
You should just like right in the middle of a show, just stop and start giving a talk.
Well, welcome to the DEF CON 101 presentation.
Like just Fuzzy's like spinning the track and then shoot, then you're right. Just right into a talk, like nothing's even out of place,
I wonder if we could hook up keynote slides to like the turntable disc jog, right? And so that way you could just like forward to the next slide, like by just like pushing the track up just a bunch.
That would be incredible.
What up, CTF players? Thanks for joining us. So we're in the early stages here. A lot of times in the recon stuff where it's early in the game, not much is happening. The players are just kind of trying to map out attack surface, and there's a number of ways you can go in depth on recon. But it's not usually the most glamorous part of hacking. I actually really do enjoy recon because you can build out so much knowledge about your target before you ever touch their infrastructure. I gave a talk with my former coworker Savant called Full Contact Recon. You can find it on YouTube, but it was kind of like a high level view of all these different ways that we do recon to map out a target, and then we have enough access to get make something really bad happen by the time that we start touching the target infrastructure. So we'll have like administrative creds, and we found single factor authentication somewhere on their perimeter, and so by the time we finally connect to the company that we're hacking, we're like already root by that point without ever having sent any packets to the company previously. So I'm a big fan of recon, but as far as like really cool stuff to talk about during a CTF, there isn't necessarily as much. It's not as cool until people start getting flags, I feel like.
I think one thing that I've noticed with this is largely a lot of people are like searching for like Kubernetes vulnerabilities. Like that's a common search that's happening already. But like I think that most people, the only information they have about it so far is that it is Kubernetes. They don't know like what version it is or anything. And I think like looking for vulnerabilities and you don't know the version is a little bit cart before the horse, right. Like if you're looking at CVEs from 2 years ago, but the Kubernetes is like last week, then you're gonna have a hard time,
Yeah, and I think kind of metagaming here a bit as a CTF player. The way that I would think about this is that this is the first flag, right? So it shouldn't be super hard. You probably don't really need an exploit to get it. We see first flags that come in the form of like view source, right? Like it's just in the HTTP response and there's the flag right there, or it's like in a file somewhere that you get without any real exploit. So if I were playing right now, I'd be thinking, okay, this is first flag. It's Kubernetes. I would actually, instead of be looking for like Kubernetes vulnerabilities or exploits, I'd be looking for Kubernetes misconfiguration, right?
Yep.
Like I would expect there would be something like the config, like, oh, the config file is kubernetes.conf or whatever it is. I don't know. Please don't murder me, Ian Coldwater. But you would, I'd look for like, what are the common configuration file names where there might be credentials, or, like what's a common misconfiguration for Kubernetes? And then I would go for that. That's what I would be looking for my first flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one thing that we kind of touched on it earlier. Like I don't think I've seen anybody do a full port scan of the host yet, and like,
right,
that's like the port scan for the top 1000 is a great way to get started. But especially if you only see things like you've only got 2280 and RPC bind open, like that. Seeing RPC bind is like, oh, I bet you there's some ports higher up.
Yeah, good point.
Go find, but yeah, I mean, I also like, I don't want to say like I don't want to be too critical, because I've also gotten into the state where like, oh, this is Kubernetes, I know what to do, and I run off and do my thing and it doesn't work, and I'm like, yeah, so
I'm watching Edival on the Discord right now, and I forget what their handle was, like Taz or something like that, maybe. But anyways, it looked like they actually did run a full port scan. Winox, I would play 1 week, except I would be humiliated by all the other players. So I have to pass. Like, so some weeks where I'm like, oh,
That's a very bad answer, mister.
maybe they should have a penultimate hacking championship where you can
the runner-up ultimate hacking championship. That's the one I can try. But yeah, I there's some weeks where I think like I might be able to get a few flags if I played. I honestly don't know if I would ever be able to qualify for the finals, right? Because first you got to finish in the top 10 in the prelims on Saturday. So A, I may not even ever make it to the finals, but then B, seeing the players on the Sundays, like even if I was able to get a couple flags, like Salesian ran through it in like 30, 40 minutes, and Kawe ran through it in like 20, 25 minutes 1 week. So it was like, I am not that fast. I can type 70 words a minute, but I can't hack that fast.
This sounds just so bad. This just sounds like excuse after excuse.
This is the reality of my life and my situation.
If you want, we can have like a little we can have a little head-to-head CTF with like no stakes, and we'll air it after the fact. That way, if it's slow, we can like add in some speed ups.
Yes. So I fast forwarded to getting the last flag, but we just don't talk about how much time went in between there.
You could do it like a music video. You could do a CTF and then do that as your music video for some random song. That
would be a cool format.
That would be a very niche song, I think, but you could do it.
Fernando in the chat asking where the cool hoodies can be found, and it was on Industrial. Date, if you want to risk the bot yelling at you, you could drop a link if you wanted.
Yeah, well, you can just go to industrial.net and search for 0xDADE, and that's like it shows up that way. I actually don't know what it's called. I just know that it shows up if you search my handle. So, yeah, I also have a code, but I don't remember what the code is. I have a discount code, but it's been a little while. It might be Hack the Planet in all caps, I think, maybe for this hoodie specifically.
So, Dave, I've got a question for you. I'm watching Edival right now, or Edival probably as it's pronounced, and it looks like they're in Windows, and then they have maybe like a VNC session open to a Kali box. And I was just wondering if you've like ever seen this kind of setup before. I know you can have like you could run like Kali like in AWS, right, in EC2 as an example, but when they're currently in their web browser, but when they come back to the thing, we'll see it. But
yeah.
It was like I've never seen this setup before, and so I was curious as to like what's going on there. But here we go. This is a perfect example of a good habit to have: taking notes as you go along. This is like one of the most invaluable traits and habits to develop, is taking notes as you go along, because you start hacking and then you need to circle back to something, or you've run out of ideas. It's hard to keep track sometimes of what you've already done or what you might want to go do. Yeah,
I will absolutely second that. Like, note taking is probably my best hacking skill.
Yes.
It feels better too, I think, at the end. Like, getting the shell is great, but already having the notes ready to go and not having to like panic, like, oh, how did I do that? That's a great feeling,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've been down the rabbit hole getting shelves, and then I'm like, oh shoot, how did I get here? I'm like, 4 boxes into the network, and I'm like, I don't remember how I got to this point.
yeah, yeah. And from I'm looking at Eddie Val's thing again. It looks like it might just be like a VM, because VirtualBox is on the side panel there.
Yeah.
And the icon right above the Chrome, I guess right above the Chromium icon, is a running Linux VM. So
Oh, okay.
it's a little penguin's foot. As a person who's used a lot of VirtualBox, it stands out to me.
Nice.
Which hopefully that's the case, and they don't actually have to VNC in, because I have had to VNC in to do some hacking before, and it is not a pleasant experience. Like, I don't care what the latency is between me and the target network. I care what the latency is between me and my keyboard.
So is this VirtualBox? This doesn't look like VirtualBox.
No, this doesn't look like VirtualBox. This is like a remote. It almost looks like a remote X server.
Yeah. That's like, I was like,
interesting.
what is that? Because like the different tabs are like shells, or their own shells, and I'm like, it's definitely not like a terminal emulator.
It could be like XOR forwarding that is like a
zero saying it's MOBAX term.
Oh,
MOBAX term.
Yeah, that would probably make sense. And it could just be forwarded to the host as well.
Oh yeah, right.
That would be my guess, because Cherry Tree and like they have Chrome and Chromium running, which like I usually only see Chromium on Linux. So.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too. I guess I like they have builds for Windows though, right? For Chromium, it's open source.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. I think, but yeah. Oh, we're getting the dash P dash. My favorite port scan here.
Yes, and with the super aggressive timing, the max aggressive.
The T5 is a little bit mean, but you got
to do you got to add in the defeat reset limits, and like the max reduce your max retries and all that stuff. You got to really just like zero out the number of FUX that you give.
yeah. And actually, there's a couple of other things that like I do the dash P dash occasionally, but I usually like to. You can do, I don't remember exactly what the syntax is for it, but you can do like the top 10,000 ports instead of the top 1,000 ports, which is also going to be, faster than the 65K. And then they've all those tools that have come out, like Rust Scan sits in front of Nmap and does it quickly, that sort of thing. But if you're getting sign limited, like if your sim packets are getting rate limited, then you're going to have a bad time no matter what. So.
Yes. Yeah. I know, like, I don't think I've seen any like throttling put in place during during UHC, but I do know that they've used load balancers in the past. So that like might not give you the results that you're expecting as well. I love Shell's idea with the meanest Nmap scan contest on Twitter. Set it up, and but we should make this a judge. I feel like this shouldn't be allowed to compete, because this will have like the nastiest like strings possible. But we could make this a judge for sure. But I would blood.
Got it.
Someone's on the board.
Waid got it.
Oh, Waid.
All right,
Waid got the first flag.
Show up after the fact.
Yeah, I know. Now we show up and try to catch what he did. We're like the forensics investigators. Okay, it looks like a command injection there. I see the curl up top, and then it looks like you're doing a post for your HTTP method, and then you can just pass a CMD equals and get command execution. So that's cool.
I run Node Exporter on some of my machines, and now I have to go like find out if this is a thing that can actually happen. Like, I'm a little bit worried now.
Bring down the cluster.
Yeah, that might be a problem. Node Exporter is so like it looks like it was running on a Node Exporter cube, which normally just does like basic stats about the system that it exports to like a HTTP endpoint basically. So it's interesting if like if there actually is like a command that accepts, or if it's, you know, just some old vulnerable version or something.
I'm glad that Twitch only keeps these streams for 2 months, because like in a year from now, if I actually know anything about Kubernetes and then I go back and watch this, I'm going to feel like even more of an idiot than I do right now.
Well, for our fans out there, you can check all of our past editions. They are all archived in our YouTube channel. So if you want to see anything older than the 2 weeks here on Twitch, you can go check the Hacking Esports YouTube.
Right. And be sure to report this particular episode for copyright violations. Say that it has Disney music in it or something. Whatever gets it off of YouTube, that's the important part.
Don't you fucking do that crap.
Yeah, IPSEC, if you want to jump in and tag out with me, and you can be on, and I'll take off. I'll sip my bourbon here, and I'll just watch y'all deal with it.
Honestly, I don't want to front about what I know about Kubernetes. I know a little bit. I've run it a little bit. That's it, you know.
Luska also got 50 points. All right, so now we have Waid and Luska in the scoreboard, both with 50 points. And it's a nice reminder to y'all here on UHC. We go on whoever gets the points first has advantage. So if at the end of the championship we do have like people tying up with their points, they have like the same points in the scoreboard. Whoever got the points first is the winner.
I don't want to give too much away here, but we were talking earlier about like the first flag, and like, oh, maybe instead of looking for the vulnerabilities, you should be looking at like page source and stuff like that. And I don't know what page they saw, but I've seen a handful of people get an app key that is like a base 64 thing that they got in a response from an HTTP request.
And we have 2 more people on the scoreboard now. Smoke Nerd and Bigos both got the easy flag as well. Oh, Felipe Vasque also just submitted the easy flag as well. So I guess they're all getting the flag now. And that's pretty much it.
Do you know, in the Brazilian live, did they like buy a hint or something like that?
Let's double check. I'm just going to ask here. Oh, no hint. The staff is saying no hint was out. So maybe either here or in the Brazilian live, someone probably walk through what would be the solving of the challenge, and the players listened, or maybe they just had this really good instinct. I don't know what could have happened.
So now we're seeing, we're watching Luska currently. Luska, I think, is in second place and also a previous winner. And they're using an app called, it looks like PHP GGC. And I'm unfamiliar with this one. Dave, do you have any experience with it?
Only that I think I've seen it before on here.
Yeah,
like
say.
It's really familiar. I'm just typing into like the wrong window, so I'm not.
PHP gadget chain.
So
deserialization thing. Like, why so serial? Okay, cool. Nice.
That's what I think. I think it was on last time that I was on. Somebody was using it for a deserialization attack, and I just missed it.
Nice. Yeah, Gertomps, you're welcome to mute the browser tab if you want, and like, I won't be offended. I've heard my voice on hours and hours of rap music, so I know what I sound like.
It defeats the entire objective here. I'm sorry, bro. You can just mute us out and play some cool, nice lo-fi, or you can check dual course music on any music platform that you like, or Dade's music as well. And you can enjoy whatever is going on screen with a very nice, music going on. But here on UHC, the point is exactly to have commentary. We try to mix, CTF with a little bit of esports format. So sorry, sweetie, no possibility of doing it without commentary.
But if you mute the commentary, that defeats the purpose, right? But then if you mute the commentary and then listen to Dade or listen to Dual Core on Spotify, doesn't that defeat the purpose of defeating the purpose?
Can you just shush? I was social engineering here. So freaking rude.
All right, let's see.
On that matter, just real quick, so Legion also got the 50-point flag. So now we have 6 of them on our scoreboard, all of them with 50 points. So all of them got the easy flag. We are just now reaching mid-game, so we're 5 minutes away from mid-game. And we have Waid in first place, followed by Luska and Smoke Nerd, Bigos, Felipe Vasque, and then Salesian, all of them with the 50 points.
Dope. Also, Hexmanic, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Gertom's no offense taken by all means.
Yeah, we're good sports here.
We're from the internet.
Yeah.
I don't get offended at things. This is really cool also. I've never seen this as well. Dogcat. This is also new to me. I literally am just like learning as I go along. I have like, I'm always and PHP exploit also new to me. Galer also new to me. This is gonna be great. I can't wait to like load up some boxes on Hack the Box and like try these tools out.
Did you say dog cat?
That's what it was called, right? Isn't that what's on screen right now?
Oh, I can't tell.
Or maybe that's the person's. Maybe that's the person's handle. Anyways, I definitely see the term dog cat on the screen.
Okay.
Watching Luska currently, but not at the moment. But yeah. So yeah, PHP GGC is Ipsec saying it's Dogcat's a try hack me room. Okay. Nice.
Gotcha. I googled it and it was just like a YouTube video, and I wanted to watch it. It's a song apparently, so might have to.
Hey, Dave, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Shouts out to you and the family in Miami. I think you're in Miami. I don't know where you're at right now. Also, that's a good point about the Try Hack Me room is last week Salesian was saying that the reason that he was able to get through the CTF so fast was because he had just recently played challenges that were similar on Hack the Box. And so he had like that entire experience, like in basically, hot storage, like in volatile memory ready to go.
Yeah. That's honestly like all of the CTFs that I've done remotely well in just happened to be because I had previously done a CTF challenge that was similar. And I keep my notes. Like I keep my notes really well. I usually publish them. So I'm like, oh, this is vaguely familiar. I'm going to Control F my own notes and like figure out what to do next,
Absolutely. Yeah. Just like we were talking about with note taking, I put all my notes in Git repo. And then when I'm working on stuff, I just like rip grep. And I'm just like, how did I do this thing before? Like what did I use for like WinDAP search when I was in this situation previously? Or like, what were the parameters that I supplied to SQL map the last time that I had this kind of situation? And so having all of those notes is like such a lifesaver, right? Because otherwise you got to learn or like refigure out how to do the tool that you want, like the way you want to do it, as opposed to just having the answer right there that you've already spent the time learning it.
Yeah. I don't want to actually learn how to use my tool. I want to have learned it once and then be able to reference that in the future. Like in a competition, I don't have time to, deep read the man pages to figure out what I did last time.
Yep.
It's about efficiency.
Yeah, I feel like the important stuff is to like figure out the methodology, right? And learn the methodology. And then from there you can figure out your branches as to like what I need to go look into further.
Yeah. Learn what to look for.
Like
learn what to look for and then learn how to look for it. I think that's the important bit.
That, and then also learning what not to look at, right? Like if you're just starting and you like Nmap server that's running LDAP, right? And you run the Nmap scripts, you're just going to get this like massive dump of information. But like much of it is not necessarily relevant to like actually owning that system. Same with like reversing, right? Like when I started reversing, I took a binary and I threw it in like Ollie or I threw it in IDA or immunity debugger since Dave's on. I threw it in immunity debugger and I was like, oh my God, like what is this? And it's just like all these instructions, right? And so I'm like, okay, let's see, like this first instruction is like a push or a move. And I'm like trying to emulate the computer state in my brain as I'm like statically just reading through this disassembly. And I'm like, this is awful. Like, it's going to take me forever. And eventually I figured out, like, really what I care about is that I want to know where the application does its like registration, or, you know, where it does this particular function that I'm interested in. The rest of it I don't care about. And so figuring out what not to look at, that was the important part for me. And so that's like, you know, like sometimes it's figuring out what to look at, and sometimes it's figuring out what not to look at.
Yeah, that's why I don't even try reverse engineering challenges, because it's all what not to look at for me. I'm just like, I get in there, I do the exact same thing. You know, if I can't find it with strings, it's probably too hard for me. And I know that about myself, and I accept that, you know, like, I understand the theory of it, and I'll let somebody else do it.
Fair enough.
Play with your friends, you know, it's a team sport. Not this particular one, but, you know, other CTFs are usually a team sport. So, you know,
yeah, and that's an absolutely terrific point. And I feel like not enough people discuss that aspect of playing in teams and working together. Like whether it be bug bounty or CTF, like I always perform better when I've got other folks to work with. Sometimes they'll ask me a question and I can give them insight and help things move forward, which also, like, them asking me a question might make me think of something else or remember something else. And the same is like being able to bounce ideas off of folks and say, I've tried these things and I'm thinking I want to look at this, but does anybody have any specialty or specialization or whatever expertise with something else that I've seen and I just don't know it as well. And having people that you trust that can give you that like honest input and output and like not ridicule you for not knowing all the answers is so valuable.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at like the types of teams that make it to like the DEF CON CTF every year, they will have, you know, 8-10 people on the floor, and they will have a hotel room with like 8 to 10 more people all working on the same stuff, or, you know, they're kind of doing research on the stuff to give ideas. You know, like if you want to play competitively, or if you just want to get better at stuff that you might not be good at, it's good to have, you know, people to work with, somebody who can help you without necessarily giving you the answer, or you can struggle through it together, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And so looking at the screen here, we're watching Salacian right now, who's last week's winner. It looks like they maybe got a potential arbitrary file right with this file put contents API in PHP. And that, I guess, they've identified the file system path as www public, and then it looks like they wrote a PHP file onto it. And then I think they're just evaluating. I think it was an eval in there, but basically trying to run whatever code gets passed in through a particular parameter, it looked like. And so it looks like the file's not found. My guess is that it's behind a load balancer. So the file's probably there on some instance, or, you know, in some, I don't even know what the terminology is, a pod. What's one like running instance of Kubernetes where you have like a bunch of them? Is it a pod? Is it a container?
It's all magic to me, man. I want to say pod is right, but like I think a cluster is many pods, and I think a pod can be more than one container. I think, you know, I don't.
Got it.
So I just want to you know, call out for something that they just told me here, which is the scoreboard is down. So what happened here is in the Brazilian live, or even here at the Twitch store here at the channel, you can use your Twitch points to buy stuff in the store. One of those stuffs that you can buy not only hints for the players and not only, you know, screen time for a player that you would want. You can also buy time off on the scoreboard, so you can drop, you know, you can put down the scoreboard and make it unavailable for a few minutes. I think 5 to 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, per purchase. And then the people on the Twitch stream can, you know, mess up with the strategy of the CTF players. Not only you can bet, so if you do exclamation point bets or exclamation point points, you can bet on the players, and in the store you can buy a bunch of stuff. If you want to help a player, you know, submit some points, submit some flags, and you want to take the screen out of their of their stream, or you can, redirect the streaming. You can mess up with the strategy of the championship as well.
Yeah, it looks like Silesian's about to get a reverse shell here. At least I'm hopeful for it. So we see that they're base64 encoding the reverse shell command, and then I assert that they're going to pass that reverse shell, that base64 encode in to something that's going to decode and execute. Interesting with the prefix of the shebang, I guess maybe it's getting written to a file somewhere. But I've definitely used this technique in the past, base64 encoding my thing and sending it somewhere where it gets decoded and then executed. And that tends to bypass the network filtering in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I've seen a number of people doing like they're putting their PHP, like they're writing their PHP script with like a file put contents call so that they can put a file on the box, and then presumably after that they'll be able to use a different gadget to execute it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because it looked like Silesian's PHP file was accessible, publicly, like they were able to browse to it. So I don't understand why you can't just do like a straight up web shell, either a pre-existing one or even just a really basic one where you pass the input from some parameter to like system or shell exec or popen or one of the, over 9,000 APIs in PHP that will do code exec for you.
Yeah.
Dave asking why are they not using faux shell or faux shell? I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but yeah, that's exactly my question as well. Seems like at least I'm like, this is like reverse shells, but with extra steps.
Yeah.
It's like you're writing a shell script to the disk.
Yeah, IPSec points out that there's probably some blacklisted PHP commands or something as an assumption. Whether we've seen that or not, or like whether the players have seen that, I think that we probably don't know. But that is something that could very well happen.
Sure, right. And I think can you get that info from PHP info? I feel like if you do PHP info, I feel like you can figure out the methods or functions that have been blocked from execution.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's actually I don't think I've seen anybody try to do PHP info either. So
IPSec might have caught it, he says. And also, what's up, people? Thank you for seeing me, whether it be live in person or safely remote viewing. So yeah, I keep waiting for Silesian to get this reverse shell. Like I'm like, it looks so close. It appears they've got the arbitrary file right onto the web server. So now you just got to make the shell connect. But yeah, let's see. They looked at something to get the path, and then they did change from system to eval. Okay, cool. So that's where we dropped in, or at least where I dropped in and saw Silesian with the eval in the PHP code. All right, cool. Is the scoreboard still
down?
Okay.
Yep. I was just checking it because at this point we have just entered mid game. We are 8 minutes in the mid game, and Silesian, for example, is very well known for having this perfect timing where he goes for the easy flag on the early game, and then he submits the medium flag on the medium game. On the mid game, and then he finishes up in the late game. So he has like this very particular timing. Although last week he just completely said fuck it and freaking finished the entire championship in 40 minutes. So oh man.
I popped over to take a look at Waid. Waid is also a former champ, and so I was curious what they were up to. They've been off for the past few weeks, but usually they've got some cool stuff cooking. So wanted to see what's going on. Looks like they are working in Burp, and like I always like seeing how different players approach problems. Right? Some people they like to do it in curl and be on the command line, hands on keyboard. Other people like to do it in Burp. Here we've got the PHP info up, so. As we were talking about earlier, you can see what modules are hooked in with PHP and loaded, and you can also, I believe, you can see what functions are disabled as well. Fortunately, PHP, like I said, has over 9,000 functions available for code exec. So
All right.
you can run system
The
commands in a myriad of ways.
Scoreboard is up again, 50 points for Mateus, and that's pretty much it. Everything else looks the same. Waid still in first place with 50 points, followed by Luska, Smokener, Bigos, Felipe, Silesian, and now Mateus on the scoreboard with the easy flag as well. So now we have 7 players in our scoreboard.
Dope.
You know why it's called PHP, right? It stands for Pretty Hackable Platform. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So it's accidentally your way into another shell exec.
Yes. Yeah. When I used to do application security, there were a rare number of times, but it did happen where I would look at a PHP app and it was small and it was actually coded well, and I didn't find any of the like common web app bugs. Right, there was like no SQL injection, no cross-site scripting, no request forgeries, whatever. And so I would just go find a bug in PHP, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, like here I was like able to own the app by this bug in PHP, and they're like, well, like there's no CVE for that. I'm like, yep, it's your bug now. Like here you go. This is my report.
Yeah. A little O day away keeps the pen testers away, something like that.
IPSEC in the chat talking about, I guess, is it a tool? Shankro? I don't know how it's pronounced, but saying that it bypasses disabled functions. I've never seen that or heard of it before. Another one to add to my list, apparently.
Oh yeah, literally just says bypass disable functions and open baster. I don't know how it works, but that sounds really neat.
Yes, this definitely sounds relevant to the interests.
You know what's interesting about like the bypass okay, so IPSEC already knows how it works, which is good because I didn't want to read the code right now to figure it out. But drops a DLL disk and then calls mail. I think I have a dead pixel. I'm not sure if that's mail or not.
Yeah, I think
LD
it's
preload,
with LD preload.
Yeah, that's interesting. LD preload is the gift that keeps on giving. So
yeah, I mean, if you can load a shared object or a library into some executable space, then you have code execution in that space, and you are good to go most of the time.
All right, so someone bought 3 minutes of Silesian screen.
All right.
So we gotta fulfill our people's desires.
All right.
So
watch, we're gonna see like Silesian get root and then have to go back for the medium flag that.
I was about to say, like, I like the store concept because while we're watching them, if they get the flag, then that's just the flag on stream. Right?
Yeah, there's nothing they can do about it. Somebody paid for that to be on screen.
Yep. You can use that either to, take the highlight off some other player that we could be watching and give the player, the time for them to submit, or you can use that to put pressure on a player, and so they won't submit the flag, or they have to do it on screen. There's no choice there. Yeah,
IPSEC with the metagaming here is to like how to jump spots in the CTF scoreboard and kind of leapfrog is to buy screen time on the first place person's screen and then snipe their flags from them. and I feel like with most players that may not work, because I feel like most of the players are pretty good about submitting their flags as they get them. But Alfonso,
oh man, flags. Jesus Christ, he's not playing tonight.
I know, right?
But we have to talk about him.
Yeah, if you spot his screen, you're gonna like collect all these flags that he doesn't submit.
He is a player with a lot of confidence, even in a very fast-paced CTF. Which if you submit your flag first, you get the advantage. He still would be sitting on flags till he was, almost there for the root flag. And he would only submit when he already had it all, which was crazy. But, I mean, it was also very exciting because we would see the flags in his screen and he purposely not submitting it.
Yeah, it is a strategy for sure.
IPSec. Oh, I see it now. I couldn't see mail in the screen, but IPSec was like, he's using mail, and I was like looking. I was like, did he just like see the base 64 and know that was mail? Like, what was that? Because I mean, it's IPSec. I wouldn't put it past him. Like it seems like, if you do enough hacking, you're gonna get that skill.
Yeah, well, I've definitely seen IPSec's videos where sometimes he'll say like, oh yeah, and then we see this, like these characters in the base 64 string, and so we know that it's this. And I'm like, you know that? I don't know that. Like, I have to decode it. I'm a regular human being.
You're saying we to be polite. I get it.
Yeah, leave something for the rest of us, IPSec.
All right, our 3 minutes of Silesian screen has gone by. So if now you want to change for other players, we can.
Well, I can't do the base 64 decode like OCR with my eyeballs like IPSec can. So I still want to see this mail API call that IPSec's talking about. Oh yeah, so let's see. There's the decode on the right side. Got it. All right, but it's not necessarily that. It looks like they're just doing which shell into output.txt. Oh, cool. All right. Oh, wow. So I've never used inspector like this in Burp. This is really cool to modify the requests in flight with encoding. That's awesome. I've never done that before. I do it the manual way of like base 64 encoding everything, going back into repeater, putting the new string in, submitting the request, and then seeing what happens. It's very painful. I apparently need this inspector. I don't know if it's a plugin or if it's part of Burp. I think I'm still running like the September version of Burp and not the November version. So I'm not sure. It's community edition, so it's not, like it's not obviously it's not in the pro build.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like really cool like plugins and stuff for Burp, and then I'm just like base64encode.org. I do all my stuff on base64encode.org and base64decode.org. I know I can do it on the terminal, but I just like to give away potentially sensitive information for free.
Right.
Like, adds a little bit of risk to my life.
If you like, like the old version is like sniffing pastebin and like scraping pastebin, right? The new version is like you set up a base 64 decoder website and Black Hat SEO it to get it like at the top of the results, and then you just save off all of the results that come through there for decoding.
Yeah, exactly.
And IPSec was talking about that last week, where we were seeing some players use the online decoding for base 64 as opposed to like doing it in the shell. And like I've always done it in the shell. And even on like Mac OS is an example where they have like the BSD build of base 64 where it's like a -D instead of lowercase d. I just end up installing like core utils so that I can just, have everything the same.
Yeah. Honestly, I think like when I got my Mac and started figuring stuff out there, like most of the rest of my team uses Linux. And so they were like writing build scripts that were all like base 64-D. And none of it worked for me. And I was like, I hate this. I'm got to get out of this. I can't handle the difference in like a fundamental utility like that. But even with like CTFs, I don't know. I catch myself just going to the online decoders like so much more frequently. Bad habits die hard, I guess.
For sure. Also, it looks like Silesian's got kind of a reliable setup going here. We're seeing the expected output come back in the response. So hopefully we catch a reverse shell. There it is. We caught the reverse shell. Yes. All right. Doing the PTY. Is there no Python on the box? Oh, there is Python 3. All right. So now we can do the pty.spawn. And then we can do the stty stuff and get a nice actual shell with tab completion. There we go.
Also, look at how fast that was. That was like immediate. He didn't have to look it up. What's going on?
Like last week, he did the exact same thing, and me and IPSec saw him like get the shell and then start doing the PTY stuff. And before IPSec could finish asking the question, like, is he going to do the stty and the Control Z for backgrounding? It was already done.
Yeah,
It was just like it's like muscle memory with Silesian.
Silesian is not, if I'm not mistaken, he is like 17 years old or 18 years old tops, so he's very, very young.
I understand.
amazing
None of the adulthoods have dulled his senses yet. I get it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was this years old when I learned about STTY and fixing my shell. Just kidding. I learned about it several years ago, but I definitely was not 17.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I learned about it in the probably like the High on Coffee blog post. I think is when I learned about it. So that was like 2018 or something.
Yeah. Fernando confirming in the chat that Silesian is indeed 17. So you can start at any time. You're never too young to start, and you're never too old to start, I would say. One of the things I wanted to point out here with Silesian is he's got his reverse shell now, right? And he's not looking around for flags. He's looking to privest. So he's kind of doing the same approach of just kind of going for root and then working backwards to get his flags, I feel like.
Root grep flag. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I'm watching Luska, who is my homie now because he's on base64 and code.org. And he's using a popular developer tool called ngrok as part of his like reverse shell process to get it back to his workstation, or at least it looked like what he was trying to do.
Let's bounce over to Luska. Unless somebody's paying to stay on Silesian. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Marina, let's bounce over to Luska and check this out. I'm always a big fan of ngrok for CTF stuff. I think it's a fantastic service and an easy way to like solve networking problems that you don't necessarily need to solve that aren't part of the actual CTF challenge, right? It's just you just want to get the shell.
Yeah, and I also really like ngrok from a I read IPSEC's thing. Shout out Phineas Fisher. I don't know if I'm allowed to shout out somebody who committed crimes, but I appreciate I appreciate the a lot of the techniques that came out of Phineas Fisher, and the writing style was very much, I liked that. It was good stuff, good content.
That was like the hacking team write up was an amazing primer on like modern day network penetration for real.
Yep. Yeah. And then like I think he had like the video of the like Spanish some police department in Spain, and actually I think that might be the one where the TTY trick came from. Like, I remember when that dropped, like a lot of people were like eager to talk about the techniques in it. But
also, is it a he? Like the identity's never confirmed about who they are, right?
I don't think so. Yeah, so they is probably
they. Yeah, I don't know. It could be anybody. Yeah. It could be me.
Could be. I wrote a song called Phineas Fisher in which I claim to be Phineas Fisher. So
this is like the I am Spartacus thing, sort of.
Yeah. It was, just showing respect, But yeah, I like using ngrok for like pen test type stuff as well, because ngrok is like a tool that I think a lot of sysadmins don't know a lot about it, but a lot of developers do know about it. And like that concept of I'm going to create an outbound connection and now you have access to my machine is something that firewall admins fear. So
yeah, for sure. And Vex in the chat saying a few days ago we were all Ian Coldwater. I bet all the CTF players wish they were all Ian Coldwater right now with Kubernetes stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay, I guess the Brazilians just kind of raided our channel here, and they are just sending a lot of love for IPSEC. And
I saw that. I was like, what's happening? There's just like IPSEC brought his own bots or something. Like,
right. Yes. IPSEC tweeted that he's in the chat, and all of a sudden everybody showed up and they're like, oh my God.
All right, welcome, Brazilians. Bem-vindos, bem-vindos.
Yeah, it's okay that you didn't shout me out. I'm not upset at all or
Aw,
anything.
it's okay, Fruit. I love you. I love you very much.
See, that's the one Brazilian that I'm worried about. That's all. The one I'm concerned with.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck y'all.
Cool. Like, so kubelet API stuff. This is all new to me as well, but I think now, like that you're moving past the early flags. Looking for vulnerabilities is probably the way to go, is like as far as metagaming with the CTF and thinking about what form the flags might take.
Somebody else over here they ran the whole port scan, Smoke Nerd, and
Nice.
found Nginx running on 307068, which is definitely an unusual port, especially for Nginx to be running on. So I'm curious about that. See what happens there.
I will say one thing that I appreciate about UHC is that thus far, knock on wood, maybe they'll prove me wrong tonight, but thus far I have not seen them put like false, like red herring stuff out, right? Things that will like distract the players into going down the wrong path intentionally.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take advantage of a lot of people here. Sorry, kids. But just so you know, we still have our store open here on the Twitch channel. So as much as you talk here on the chat, you will win Twitch points or hacking coins or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then you can take them to the store. It was posted here on chat. If you go ! Commands, you can also get some links. Just as Winox did in the chat, you can also write ! Points, and you can know how many points do you have, and you can use those points not only in the store, but you can make donations to the channel, and you can also buy, not only buy, but bet. You can bet on winners, and you can get a lot of points at the end. And you can use those points to buy, screen time for the players that you like, to put the scoreboard down and mess with everyone's strategy, to buy hints for the players. You can do a lot of crazy stuff with the points. So just don't forget to check out the store and, buy some, or even bet on, with your points on the ! Points command. And that's pretty much it. All right. You can keep it on, kids.
I was like, how did I get 360 hacking coins? I was like, I definitely have not done anything like shady. This isn't like regular life
sure.
where I'm like actually hacking things.
You wanna see something very sad? I'm gonna do it with the account, with the actual account, with the hacking esports account. I got shit. I don't have no points. This is sad.
You're exempted. But apparently you get 20 points every 10 minutes. So I've apparently been doing it wrong and not logging in every week, because if I logged in every week, instead of being in second place, I'd be in first place, apparently. But yeah, okay. So let's see. You can do the player screen. You can do a message. I want to do the bet thing. I don't gamble, and so this seems like a safe way for me to gamble.
I mean, that's how they get you, though. It seems safe right now until like 2 weeks from now. It's going to elevate.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm just gonna bet wildly.
I think it's bet player and then points. So
got it. I'm gonna bet 80 on Salacian. Yes.
Oh.
All right.
Yes.
Scoreboard's locked again. No idea now.
I was just about
God
to
damn
check.
it.
All right, how are my stonks doing?
Oh boy.
All right.
Oh wow. All right. Well, let's see.
I guess Luska just dropped out. Yeah.
All right. Let's check on Waid. I'm curious what Waid's up to, because Waid's our a once again returning champion, not the champion from last week, but a previous champion, and it looks like they've got some PHP stuff set up through the Gadget PHP GGC stuff. And I guess I totally missed how they fingerprinted Laravel, but I wonder, if the app isn't running Laravel necessarily. Dave, have you ever run into this with Why So Serial, where you you try like a particular payload against a framework, and it may not necessarily line up, but it actually works?
Um, that's a good. I don't know if I've gotten lucky like that.
I usually have good success with like common collections or commons collections, 5 and or 6. For some reason, even if I fingerprint the app and it's like, oh, you're using, like MyFace or like Spring or something,
Mhm.
and the gadgets for those payloads don't work, if I like revert to commons collections 5 or 6, they usually work. And I don't know why. I don't know enough about the underlying stuff, but I just wonder in this case, like if the like the Laravel RCE gadgets are kind of more universal, I guess.
Yeah, I think that the way that they found it had to do with like so we see here like this illuminate well, oh, we are all watching the same person. Okay. So
Yeah.
I've seen a number of things reference illuminate and so I think I haven't googled it, but I'm sure that that'll turn up as a Laravel app. And I think that's also where they found like some certain like keys and environment information. I don't actually know how we got to that point. I've seen a number of people get there. I just, I would guess maybe like with FUF or something, you could have found it, but yeah, it's.
I think actually, now that I think about it, if I was playing through, the first flag was found through .env, right? And I
Yeah.
think .env is part of, like, it's a aspect of or an attribute of Laravel. So I think if I were playing and I was savvy enough individually, which I'm probably not, but if I was savvy enough individually, like one of our players tonight, I would find a flag in .env through enumeration. And then I would say, okay, this obviously, or this is likely Laravel. And then I would go for the Laravel gadgets through PHP GGC. That's probably what the train
Yeah.
of thought was there. And IPSEC, thanks for letting me know. Commons collection included in 1,000,000 nines of Java apps, almost as many nines as the S3 reliability for object storage.
I mean,
I
that's
think
certainly way
S3
more
is like
nines than any Java app ever has had. So
S3 is like well, it's about as many nines as like Java apps that get exploited, I feel like. But yeah, S3 is like what, like 11 nines of like availability, I think. So
that's
this
a
is
lot.
what, like 7 nines, yeah. And also like S3 just did the strong like write read consistency as well. So I don't know.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
like,
that just came out in like the reInvent. They announced that, right?
yeah.
It was eventually consistent for 10 years or whatever, and now it's finally strong, consistent.
Yeah. So
Fancy,
now
fancy.
I can build a web application that's backed off of a SQLite database that lives in S3.
That sounds awful. That sounds like a bad CTF challenge, honestly.
UHC, don't get any ideas. Please don't do that. That would be awful. That would be so miserable. Okay, so we're looking at Waid. Waid is looking up. It looks like they're looking up MSF Venom, like payloads based on the query string Linux PHP reverse TCP, which I always just do like MSF Venom, and then yeah, there you go, just like this. Yeah, there it is. Dade, do you use Meterpreter frequently?
I try to avoid it. I mean, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with using it, but I don't use like Metasploit all that much, so it doesn't help me all that much. Yeah, I think it was also part of like during the OSCP, I forced myself to not use Metasploit for any of the boxes because I knew that in the exam I would only be able to use it once. So I'm a sucker for pain, I guess,
Yeah, and it's fascinating. I have that same mentality, even though like I don't have an OSCP, but just knowing that you're restricted on using Metasploit in the OSCP, I just don't use it when I play Hack the Box or when I actually hack things. And like, I don't, it's just kind of like a weird mental block of just like not, not using Metasploit. Waid taking a break, doing a BRB, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to BRB, and they're just like, they're onto something and they don't want us to see it. But we can bounce.
Oh, that could
I'm
be.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Why don't we take a look at Felipe Vasque? I'm curious of what Felipe is up to.
Let me just check if the scoreboard is up again.
Okay.
God damn it, it's not. Okay, so
Let's sit.
which means what?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say, like, I wanted to see what Felipe was up to, and it looks like Felipe's also got remote code exec and finding some cool stuff there. You got some people's reverse shells or web shells. Dave in the chat saying never use Metasploit. I can't imagine. You have your own suite of things to use, of course.
Wow. Just checking here, the bets in Legion already has 340 points betted on him.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of got a reputation, so.
Yeah. I don't remember if he's I think he's like one of the last ones here on a scoreboard, unless he submitted flags while we weren't looking, and while the scoreboard is off. I do believe Waid still the first one, right?
Yeah, could be. I don't recall. Binary Digit, thanks, appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. I'm waiting to see what Felipe does here, because they've definitely got the setup going, but they're operating in a manual fashion like I would, as opposed to what Salacian was doing with doing the offset subtractions. Oh my gosh, this is so painful, because this is exactly what it would be like if you were watching me play right now. I'm not even kidding, and I apologize to everybody, because this is me IRL.
Why do you keep apologizing?
It's just amazing watching the players be so much better at this than I am. I love it. Like, I think we all get to the same, objectives. We all get there. It's just we get there at faster or slower speeds. And in the case of this CTF, it's like speed is definitely an important aspect. Yes, yeah, editing a PHP object by hand, exactly. Yep, that is exactly what's happening. So yeah, with PHP GGC, you've got some kind of deserialization issue. And sorry, go ahead.
Scoreboard is up again, so we still are in the same position that we were. Okay, so Wade's still first place with 50 points, followed by Luzka, Smoke Nerd, Bigos, Felipe, Silesian, and Mateos. Everyone with 50 points as well, so everyone just got the easy flag, and now we're literally in mid-game, so we have an hour and a half more to go here with the players, and 7 of them are already in the scoreboard, as I just said, in the exact same order that I just said, with Waid being the first one with the 50 points.
Nice. Let's take a look at Edgival, because watching watching Felipe was too triggering for me.
Apparently someone went down here. The 10th room is empty.
Yeah, two is empty for a moment right now too. I don't remember who was in 2, but they're
all right.
Yeah, I think 2 has disappeared a couple of times. Might be internet issues.
All right, so let's see. Edgival has. It looks like they're putting together a PHP payload. You've got an fopen call to write a file. Then you're doing the file write with running system against whatever gets passed in through the get request parameter CMD, and then you close the file. And so if this all worked out in an ideal world, you could make a request like I forget whatever their file name was, but edgeval.php !cmd equals, and then whatever command you wanted to run, ID, uname, or potentially netcat and kick a reverse shell back to yourself. But as we discussed earlier, there might be some disabled functions. I think we saw, or maybe IPSec saw, that system might have been disabled. We saw Salesian use eval instead of system. We talked about how there are a myriad of different ways to use different myriad of different functions available in PHP that can get you code exec. Oh yeah, now I see Mobac's term at the very bottom of the screen. But yeah, so I feel like this is a really good opportunity for folks to think about how they could reduce overhead in these like serialization attacks or deserialization attacks where you have to like make edits, do some kind of encoding, etc. I know like wisoserial.net, it has when you attack like a .NET application, it's got an option to do the base64 encoding for you. And so you can just like immediately translate everything or encode it immediately straight to base64, and you've got your payload ready to go to just kick back in. Using the inspector plugin with Burp was a new one for me that I really appreciated. So I think I've got like half a dozen new things for me to mess with like after this UHC, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, I don't think that I've gone after trying to hack a PHP app in quite a while. Out of choice, I have tried to avoid it, for like 7 years, and I've mostly succeeded. But yeah, it's interesting seeing a lot of this. I think deserialization is such a fascinating area of attack, because there's so many kind of opportunities for it. And usually when you hear about a deserialization attack, it's pretty bad.
Dave's got a really good point in the chat here with stop using a manual process and start automating it, right? And I feel like that's a very common thing. I think, Dave, if you and I were playing this in real life, we would see like I'm repeating some action. Yep. And after like a couple iterations of repeating the same action, we would make the computer do it for us, and we would start scripting it. And so, right, exactly, like you would write your tooling in Python and then like have the computer do it for you.
Yeah, I think it gets a little bit tricky, right? Like, I like to say that I would do that, but I also recognize that like there's only 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that of actual play time. And so like that could be, I could get distracted trying. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when I'm writing my tools. So I could get distracted pretty easily if I spend too much time writing, like, okay, it's just request.get, except for, I want to like filter out these things. I want to make it, I want to make it so I understand it. And then suddenly I'm just writing a new web crawler instead of
right. Yeah. You start thinking about edge cases, and then you're like, all of a sudden you've lost sight of the fact that done is better than perfect, right?
Yeah.
You start with like, I just need this one thing to happen, but then you start building in, well, it'd be nice if I could do these things as well.
Oh, but IPSec copy as Python requests, Burp plugin that turns it into a Python script for you. That sounds fantastic. That's exactly what we need. Yeah, that's honestly not surprising.
Invest.jpg.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that one's getting a few more stars on the old GitHub tonight, I think.
Let's go back to Salesian, because Salesian's got the reverse shell already, and now it looks like they're just kind of working through the Kubernetes stuff. And if I had to guess, just based on the context of Salesian only being 17 and only having started hacking a year and a half ago, I would guess that Salesian doesn't have much, maybe not any experience with Kubernetes.
God damn it!
Hey, you don't know.
Scoreboard, scoreboard is down again. Jesus
I went to
Christ!
check and I was like, nope, down. Yeah.
Oh my God!
But on the other hand, 80, like, could just be that, if you're learning today, you might start learning with things like containers and Kubernetes and stuff, because I think it's harder to learn that stuff now because I spent, 10 years trying to, learning just Linux stuff. And then the whole like container and cluster paradigm shift is hard to wrap my head around. So, maybe it's less confusing for the younger generation.
So here,
That's true.
we this is the last time that the scoreboard is going to be down. Just if you just got here, the scoreboard usually goes down because people can buy time off of the scoreboard and put the scoreboard literally down for strategy, for messing up with everyone's game. And if you want to buy more stuff to mess up with the strategy of the CTF, you can in the store. Here's the link here on the screen. You can also bet as well. That you can just type !bet or !points or !contest, and you can choose whichever player you want to bet your Twitch points, your hacking points that you're getting here on our Twitch chat, by their rooms. So, first is Silesian, second is offline right now, but third is Mateos, fourth is Waid, then 5 is Smoke Nerd, 6 Vinicius, 7 Felipe Vasque, 8 Reno Zion, and 9 Edival. 10 is now empty. So that's our players tonight. And Waid is currently on first place. But a lot of people are betting on Silesian. Silesian has more than 300 points already betted on him because he is our last week champion, with having won the CTF last week in just 40 minutes, which was quite a record.
Yeah, and he's got a reverse shell, and I don't know. We're only halfway through the game, so I put my bet on Silesian personally. That's where I spend my points. But yeah, one of the other things that's really fascinating is it's kind of like with Kubernetes and containers. I guess it's kind of like a different, I don't know, like a different approach to computing, right? Your attack surface now is not the application that's running, because that's just running in some container that's ephemeral and going to evaporate, and a new one will replace it. Your attack surface is now like the control plane of that, right? So same stuff with like AWS. I see blue teams get caught up with this all the time, where if I target AWS stuff, I'm going after like the management side of AWS. Like what AWS APIs can I control and do things with? Can I like attach policies to identities? Can I manipulate resources? Can I like, do things inside of AWS? Whereas like the blue teams are still thinking like, what's going on inside of the EC2 instance, because that's the computer, that's the server that I need to protect. And it's like, no. Like I can like spin up all these other resources and do all these other crazy things. And if you don't have visibility of that, or you can't stop me from doing that, that's really what hurts the business.
Yeah. It's kind of like in the before cloud became more popular, a place that was interesting to attack was like the ILOM. I forgot what the generic name is for it. The baseband controller, though, basically. That like. It's gonna drive me nuts that I forgot what it's called. But like the ILOM layer, because if you can attack that and you have access to the underlying machine, it doesn't really matter what security defenses are on the instance, well, typically.
See, are you talking about like what's running underneath the instance?
Yeah. So like the ILOM layer is like serial control and stuff like that. It's going to drive me nuts until I figure out what the generic name is for it.
See, my perspective though is like running or attacking like what's controlling the instances, like the higher layer, right? Like I want to run everything on the platform itself.
Yeah. I mean, like pre-cloud, it was like kind of equivalent if you were attacking through the BMCs and stuff like that.
Got it. Yeah.
I think BMC is what it stands for. Baseboard management controller. which, you know, gets you access that like people aren't looking there because it's kind of too obscure. People don't think about that. They think about protecting their app. They think about protecting their instance. But if it's running or on like attacking the hypervisor, if it's running an instance on, you know, your server at home or whatever. So I think that's kind of a similar concept of like attack the control plane, because, you know, if you get nestled in there, they're not going to get rid of you.
Yeah, I guess it's almost like I feel like it's the reciprocal, right? Like so, like in a former life, what I used to love doing was like backdooring firmware, right?
Mhm.
So if I could get access to flash firmware onto a device, I could backdoor the firmware and then like flash that onto the device. And now I have this like lower layer of access. Like I always saw it like referred to as like ring -3, right? Like I had like ring -3 access,
Yeah.
and there's no AV scan that you're gonna run that's gonna detect that I have a backdoor running on your NIC, right? And inside the firmware, like your remediation
Right.
for that is to either like reflash the firmware on the NIC with like the stock, or like throw out your NIC and get a new NIC, and
Yeah.
like that's it. And so like the flip side of it is that like now like I control all of the computers that are running,
Yeah.
not just like the firmware on the NIC. Yeah. So Dave asking, is he lost? What are you missing? And yeah, you are. You're right. Like I think we're all lost. Like we don't really know exactly what the exploit is here. Like what the path is, I guess. I think that Salacian has a shell inside of a container that's orchestrated by Kubernetes, and my guess would be that there is a flag inside that container somewhere that he hasn't gotten yet, and then that there's probably some kind of breakout or some attack against whatever the controller aspect of Kubernetes is, that then lets you get access onto the host system. We did see 1 week there was the challenge setup was that you ended up in a container, and then there was like some overwrite with the Docker socket or something like that that lets you get out of the container and onto the host, and then escalate privileges.
Yeah. Mounting the Docker socket into the container is like the number one no in Docker land, which I've learned the hard way. So
yeah, so I feel like Salacian right now doing linps inside the container. I don't know, like I don't know if you.
We
What's that?
are watching Waid now here on our screen.
Oh, I was watching Salacian. I was way off. Nobody told me that we changed screens. I was not paying attention. I was too busy lost rambling. All right, so
and just so y'all know, we have the scoreboard back online, and you can access it. I threw the link here on our chat. I put it on our screen, and just so y'all know, we are almost at the late game now. We are 10 minutes away from late game, which means we're gonna have a little bit more than an hour for the players. And the scoreboard's still the same. Waid in first place with the 50 points, the easy flag, followed by Luska, Smoke Nerd, Bigos, Felipe Vasta, Legion, and Mateus, all of them with 50 points. I think Luska was the one that was in the second room, right? And he disconnected. He had a few problems.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, Liska is out and Galito is out as well. And for folks that weren't on earlier, we covered in the rules. Part of the rules of UHC are that you have to be streaming the entire time. If your internet connection drops, it happens, but you get like a 5-minute grace period, and then you need to come back in that time. And so basically, if you're out for more than 5 minutes, you get dropped from the competition. So that's that. I think I saw Metasploit listener fire up very briefly on Wade's screen. Not sure if that was what y'all saw or not, but
yeah, I think he has a listener running somewhere, one of the tabs, or at least he did at one point. I've been watching for a little while. He's having a hard time, I think. Which, I mean, I would be having a hard time right now too. So
Yeah, I don't even think I'd be this far along. Let's see. On the still running things in burp, still pasting those payloads in, and I guess doing the payload doesn't go in the request forgery. It goes in the request forgery token header, I guess. But then there's 2 request forgery token headers in there. Did you see that on the burp screen, on the repeater screen?
I switched off, but that is a fun little HTTP artifact that you can in fact do that. You can have multiple, and it's supposed to collapse them, or if it's like going upstream, it's supposed to strip certain headers off. I don't think that like the X headers would normally get stripped off, but it's supposed to. I think according to the spec, it's supposed to collapse into a dict, and then you have like the first, the first one, and then the second one is also available to you. But a lot of apps don't do that. So
yeah, I was gonna say I've definitely done parameter pollution before, where I redefine a value for a parameter, and the app accepts like, oh, like this is fine, and then it does something else with my bad value of the parameter, and so I've command shell session 2 open. All right, that's localhost to localhost. Never mind. I think this is maybe a test payload.
Just so y'all know, Reno Zion also joined the scoreboard. So now we have all of the players on the scoreboard, everyone with the easy flag, everyone with 50 points, being Waid, the first one in the scoreboard.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, let's see there. Waid is running the multi-handler here for Metasploit, and I'm pretty sure that shell that they caught was just a local test. Also, I always love seeing the Portuguese like administradores as opposed to like administrator.
I'm watching Smoke Nerd right now, who has got the upload, hasn't gotten a shell yet. Hosting his payload on Pastebin. Good place for payloads.
It's available.
What is this? Yeah, and one thing that I've actually seen a number of people dealing with is I don't know if they're playing in like their normal day-to-day environments or not, but like a lot of people haven't accepted the Portswigger CA as trusted. So like they'll go to pages and they constantly have to like go through like, okay, I gotta accept this. I gotta like that's slowing you down in a situation where you've only got a few hours to work. That's something I would have taken care of, I think, right away. Like that more than once is too many times for that.
Yeah, that one always catches me when I like roll a new VM. I'm like, oh yeah, just load up burp and blah blah, and I'm like, oh wait, no.
Yeah.
Got to set up the CA for sure. I did see before I bounced out of Waid stuff. Waid was looking at the mail APIs in PHP, so I think that Waid is on the right path. But I think Waid's a couple steps behind Silesian at least. Excuse me. Let's see. We're checking out Smoke Nerd right now, who is looking up reverse shell stuff with PHP. I don't know. Like, I always feel like do you have any like cool PHP reverse shell tricks, Dave? I just always like generate mine out of MSF Venom and toss it up there.
Yeah, most reverse shells of any sort, I typically just an MSF Venom for it. I don't spend time writing shells if there are tools that write shells for me.
Yeah.
That said, there might be like some simple situations where I like eval bin bash directed to dev TCP or something like super basic like that. Like I've definitely done that before, but yeah, if I need a reverse shell, I'm gonna MSF Venom it.
All right, boys, it's picture time. So get together here on screen.
Oh no, my bourbon is empty.
All right, just let me.
I learned about this. I have another camera too. I don't know how to turn it on though. Sorry. Oh yeah. I can't do both.
That's it? Did we got it? We got it?
I hope so.
I
Yep.
didn't get it. I wasn't.
We
My fingers
did,
were up here. I
okay.
couldn't take it.
So going back to PHP shells, and I know I've talked about this before. So Dave, Marina, sorry, bear with me. Viewers who have already heard the story, bear with me. But one of my favorite PHP web shell stories is back in the day when C99 was a thing. A friend of mine, he had a copy of C99 that was written in Arabic or was encoded in Arabic, and so he would drop that on boxes playing CTFs, and other people would then find the web shell and they'd load up the C99 shell, but then they wouldn't know what to do with it because it was in Arabic. And he knew it inside and out. So even though he didn't read or write Arabic or speak Arabic or whatever, he knew what everything was. And so he was able to use it just fine, but then everyone else would bail out and have to end up figuring out how to do the exploit on their own or how to get the web shell up on their own, as opposed to just using his presence on the system, which I always enjoyed.
Was this the version of C99 that was pre-backdoored as well, or just a different one? Just curious,
I'm not sure. It might have had its own custom backdoor in there. Who knows?
Yeah. Honestly, I said if I have to have a reverse shell, and like the reason I said it that way is like a lot of stuff like what they're doing now is like looking through files and stuff, and for that, like, give me a web shell. I'm fine with that.
Right.
I can upload a web shell and then give myself I can write a quick little interpreter in Python that sends the command and gives me the output, and just treat it like a normal shell. That's okay by me.
Yeah. So I'm curious here. I'm seeing like the searches for setting up the AWS CLI, and I wonder, like, did you happen to see, Dave? Did they get did Smoke Nerd get like AWS access keys somewhere? Were there access keys like in that file that had the initial flag in it? The .env stuff.
I mean, I saw like a bunch of like app keys and stuff like that. I think assuming that they're the AWS keys is probably gonna lead you down a bad path. I don't know how it's built out, but I feel like that's really dangerous for the CTF organizers to put the AWS keys into the CTF itself.
It's definitely been part of the CTF in the past where you get some kind of bug that gets you access credentials, and then obviously they go to like some role that's limited, and then it only has certain access inside of the AWS account. But I missed like what brought Smoke Nerd to this point of setting up the AWS access stuff. I guess they're just basically looking at the notes. It looks like they're just kind of going on the fact that it's just hosted in US East 1. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you got access creds, then I would definitely go the AWS CLI route and start rampaging around in the AWS account. But I don't know if they've got that level of access quite yet. And also, like, by the way, in your CTF VM, you should have AWS CLI ready to go already and installed. That's like a very easy one to set up and saves you time as opposed to like trying to do it live like your Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. Especially if you know that the CTF is usually on AWS or whatever. Like if you know ahead of time, it's very good to have that sort of stuff available already. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people doing like I feel like going to AWS, like if that is part of the CTF, I feel like that would be a later part of the CTF than like going to the Kubernetes cluster. Can you talk to the controller? But I guess at the same side of things, you could get the AWS control, or you could get the AWS access that gives you access to the Kubernetes stuff. It could be just a weird attack graph. So.
Right. Yeah, it could, like, if you're running out of EKS as an example, then potentially part of that is compromising access creds that then let you introspect into what's running in EKS. Maybe I'm like, again, for folks that are watching, we don't know anything about the challenges. This is why we're so clueless as we're watching and talking about what's going on screen, because we honestly don't know like what the challenges or solutions are. But that brings us to a good point in that at the end of the CTF, whether somebody solves all the challenges or we run out of time, whichever happens first, within the next 55 minutes, we will have an interview at the end with the winner as well as the CTF creators, and all will be revealed. So we'll figure out exactly what the kill chain was supposed to be, how it was intended to be played through, as well as what the players did to work their way through it. So definitely stick with us for the next hour and change, because we'll get all of the answers. Let's see. It looks like everybody bailed off of Salacian except for Dade. Why don't we bounce back to Salacian and see what they're up to?
Yeah, I'm watching him Google how to use basic auth and curl.
This is what's amazing to me is like, Salacian rampaged on the CTF last week and like got everything in 30 to 40 minutes. And there's no way that I would have figured it out in that time. And then here you are seeing the same person look up how to do basic auth and curl.
Yep.
And like, that's nothing, like, it's not a groundbreaking thing. It's not like they're figuring out ODay, but this is hacking. This is like what it is. We're just looking things up and learning things as we go.
Yep. And that's, you gotta make room for all the important stuff. So sometimes the less important, I'm the type that barely remembers flags to things. I think Nmap is the only thing I have most, like, I know a lot of Nmap flags, but everything else, that's what the man pages are for, that's what Google's for. Oh,
for sure. Yeah. And I always used to joke about how like so much space in my brain is wasted. And I worked at a job reversing stuff, but I had all the best memes. And everyone was like, how do you have all these amazing memes? Like everybody else that we work with, they don't have a sense of humor. And I was like, well, my brain is like 99% internet memes and 1% I know how to use IDA Pro.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. My whole life is like memes and like pop culture references. I'm the go-to expert for hacking in fiction, basically. Like if it's hacking in a movie or a TV show, or like I intentionally seek out bad hacking on TV shows. Like I love watching that. It's so amusing to me. So you get your skills. It's important to have a solid meme vault that you can retreat into when you need to.
Well, for me, it's the methodology of how to find the good memes, right? What are like the best sites, and what's the methodology, the search terms, just like we were talking about earlier, right? It's not necessarily about having like the wealth of knowledge on like the long tails. Yeah. It's like figuring out how to get there. And Well-Rooted beat me to it. I was going to ask you, what is your favorite bad hacking scene?
That's a tricky one. I think there are like a lot of the listening. I have not watched The Listening, but now that it's been recommended, I guess that's what I'm going to spend my Sunday night doing. So I probably have a couple of like favorite bad hacking scenes. I'm not going to throw hackers under the bus because I thought that the culture of hackers was great. And I thought that there was actually one really good, accurate hacking scene in Hackers. And that was when Dade was sitting at the table and all his friends were wandering around, waiting for Dade to get done like night and day because he's just glued to his computer. But I think, my favorite bad hacking scenes, I think the NCIS two hands, one computer to like hack faster. I thought that was really, that one's a classic. And then I have two IRC based ones. One is the IRC scene from Numbers, where they describe IRC as
shipping lanes,
two ships passing in the night. And it's amazing. And then there's another one from a German movie called Who Am I, where they go to the darknet as a they're like going to the darknet as their hacker icon or whatever. They're trying to get the attention of this really big badass darknet guy. and the IRC channel that they go to, or like the chat room that they go to, is depicted as a subway, like a subway car, with everybody wearing these like really ridiculous masks.
Is it like
And-
Second Life? Is that the way it's like represented?
I mean, it's not like digital. It's like they actually filmed it like that, like just as a way to digitally or to like visually represent being in a chat room with hackers. And so like one guy's wearing like a pig mask and just like all these like weird things. And then but it has like they gave the guy or the guy gave them a hammer or something like that. And later on, this is in the subway car, by the way, like this is a virtual
Which is
hammer
the
of some
IRC
sort.
channel.
Yes. So presumably he gives the guy some like tool,
Like
but
DCC send. And then
yeah, exactly. And the guy uses the tool, and then the other guy comes back and he's like, that was an IP transmitter. And he looks at the bottom of the hammer and there's a red light beeping. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's so good.
One of my favorite bad hacking scenes is just, you know, the big old meme of the hacker
Yeah,
man.
Hacker Man is great.
Hacking time.
Yep.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Hacking time, hack faster, turbo hack.
I always,
Oh
I
my
forget what it was
God.
from, but I always love, I'm going to write a program to track the killer's IP with a GUI interface and Visual Basic. That one actually hurt me because I taught myself to program by pirating VB3. And I was like, don't you do that to my Visual Basic? Like that's harsh. I always loved the one that, it was like some display. It was got to be one of the like NCIS shows or whatever. But there was like some display, and there's an IP address on the screen, and it's like it's represented as an IPv4 address, but one of the octets is outside of the range. It's like higher than 255,
Yeah.
and so it's like, oh yeah, IPv5, right? Yeah, like I totally missed that one.
That's one that doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people get kind of upset about that, or they like it breaks your immersion for whatever you're watching. But like that's one that actually makes sense to me because it's like the Jenny's number problem, right? Like if they used a real IP address, that would unintentionally send traffic to that. And like you could own the address and just always use like a studio network range. Like that's what like Mr. Robot had for their ARG, they used real addresses because they tied in an augmented reality game to it. But I understand that that's like a lot to ask from, it's just like one consultant 10 years ago was like, you probably shouldn't do that. And actually, even better, I just have a little fun little aside here. The Net with Sandra Bullock has an example of like bad IP addresses in it. But The Net by Sandra Bullock is older than RFC 1918. So
oh no, don't say that.
So like if you think about I think Hackers was too, because RFC 1918 was like January, or I think it was like early 96. And so like Sneakers and War Games and The Net, and like I mean War Games I don't think it had any IP addresses, it was all phone numbers, but yeah, so like all these like kind of cult classics were before. That's not to say it was before private IPs. I think the prior one was like RFC, whatever. I don't remember what it's called, but it's Network 10 is considered harmful, that sort of stuff. And so it's just like, that was a fun finding for me when people are like, oh, they should have just used a real IP address. It's like, why? Like, why? Nobody would have known. 30 years ago when they were making these movies, they couldn't even predict that IPv4 was about to run out. Like,
Well, and people in the chat talking about the production companies reading the RFCs. Eventually they're going to start reading the RFCs, and then what we'll end up with is some kind of like show or movie where they've got the evil bit set, and then it's like, oh, like yeah, they said the evil bit, and that's how we knew that it was a hacker.
Oh, that would be
I forget
great.
what the RFC is for that, but it is an actual RFC that exists.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll also start to see everybody using the documentation IP ranges, which is like a /12 or some weird. So I think it's something weird. It might be a /24, but like specially dedicated for documentation and not supposed to be internet routable. So maybe we'll see it.
Hey, Marina, was there a hint released I thought I saw a hint on Silesian's screen.
I don't know. Let me double check with the staff.
So Marina has the elite hacker skill here of being at least bilingual, if we'll just say multilingual, and that she can check on the Portuguese stuff that's happening in Brazil, whereas us gringos are stuck just knowing what we're seeing on the screen. So I apologize to all of you watching, because I'm the bottleneck here. I don't speak Portuguese well enough to be able to figure out what's happening on the Brazilian version of the live stream.
I like to check in on the general channel in Discord once in a while, and just like most of it I don't understand, but then there's like very clear things I understand. Like it's a bunch of things, and then persistent backdoor, and then a bunch of like Portuguese, and then dig any the address, and like, oh, I get some of these.
Right, and this is exactly the point as to why I encourage other folks outside of Brazil to play on the prelims on Saturday and try to qualify for the Sunday night rounds, is because even though some of the text might be in Portuguese, you've got Google Translate or whatever translate app that you use. But for the most part, like IP addresses are IP addresses, code is code. Right? You don't necessarily need to speak a different language. Like all of that stuff just comes together. It's the same thing. It's uniform for us.
Yeah, when I was younger, like around the time I was starting college, I grew up really poor, like dial up until 2007 or 2008, like that sort of thing. And so like I wasn't super into computers back then, but when I got to college and I was like learning to program for the first time, I genuinely was confused. I was like, okay, it's like all of this is in English. Is there a Spanish PHP where all of like the commands are in Spanish? Like, and much to my surprise, no. Like I thought that would have just been normal.
We did have a hint. So here we have here in our screen we have Carlos Krausek.
Wait,
he is.
Can I try to translate it?
Okay, just let me. Okay, so Carlos Krausek is the one that actually builds all the CTS machines, not only for the qualifying round that happens on Saturday, but also for all the finals as well. So that's quite impressive. And so he is the one who gives out the hints. And you could have bought hints on the store. And then the staff decides when they want to release it, and that can be very random. So now we are 40 minutes, almost 40 minutes to the end of the championship. So that's when Carlos Cadu decided to just drop the hint to fuck it up a little bit with the players. Now you can try to translate it from Portuguese.
Okay, I may not get it right, and I probably won't. But here I go. You have access to a credential that is from an email service. Are you able to access it? And I guess it's like, are you able to access the email service?
Perfect. That's it. You got it.
Nice.
That was a level up moment, bud. That was.
Well, like reading Portuguese, not too bad. Writing Portuguese, more difficult. Speaking Portuguese, a little bit harder than that. And hearing Portuguese and understanding it, almost impossible for me. But if you put me at the bar, I can drink cachaça all day without any issue. No problem.
Yeah.
But the hint kind of corresponds to something that I've seen and been curious about. This .env that we're seeing, or at least I was seeing on Silesian screen, but we've seen throughout the night. It's got these credentials in it, right? It's got a host address, a port. It's got a username, a password, and so I'm like, what are these credentials for? How can you use them? Like pretty much any time that I come across credentials, I'm always curious. Like, what can they be used for? Like as an operator, like when I'm operating, I'm trying to like keep track of everything. I'm trying to keep a map of like what attack surface do I know about, and then what potential ways do I have to access that attack surface. And so that's kind of your credentials, is your potential ways to access your attack surface. So I'm always kind of wondering as to like how things plug into each other, what I can use credentials for.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's like the real hard problem too. Like sometimes you'll find credentials, and like having credentials and not knowing what they're for isn't very useful. And sometimes it's very hard to figure out what they're for. I think like in this case, I'm seeing the EMV file right now. Waid copied it to a local file, which was also a good thing. Like, I feel like everybody probably should have done that as soon as they got that file. EMV is always going to be interesting to have stuff. But like, it has like the AWS apps address, like it has all of the information for you, and they're all grouped together as mail_blank. So like, it is pretty obvious what they were for. That being said, if I found that, like, I wouldn't necessarily think like, oh, I should go see if I can send email as the web app, because like, I don't know what, like, I don't see what that would get me, aside from maybe like if there's a mailbox there that I could check.
My thought is maybe the mail app, I don't know, could you maybe use, if you can send mail, could you potentially like use the mail app to read a file into the mail for like body content? And then from there, could you like maybe get like arbitrary file disclosure or something like that? I have no idea whether that would work or not, but that's my line of thinking.
Yeah. And I mean, there might be something there. I think part of it is just depends on how the application uses the mail server too. But like, definitely my first thought is like, okay, yeah, I would check for a mailbox right away. But if there wasn't a mailbox, then I would probably like, all right, I'm going to leave that for later, because I don't know what else I would do with it,
Yeah,
and especially if like people are already getting shells, like if people already got remote shell, then I don't know what I would want from the mail service,
Yeah, good point.
It's tricky. I have no idea what the app is, and since we only get to see it in the glimpses of the people's screens, like I have no idea what the intended use of it is. So
much like hacking in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
We get on a system and we're like, what is the purpose of this system?
Yeah.
And then we have to figure it out. Let's see, we're looking at Celestion right now, who's checking out kube control stuff. And it looks like they have some credential. I definitely see them passing this like root username, and then what definitely appears like a password to me, credential in as an argument. So very curious to see like what's going on here and what they come out with. I know nothing about Kubernetes, and all I know is that I want to be a Kubernetes when I grow up. And we don't know anything about the CTF challenges prior to like at any point really, and prior to the end of the CTF. So yeah, we're just kind of speculating as things go.
Yeah. It seems like a good kind of path for the flags. I don't know how many flags there are either, but three flags this time. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems almost like the kind of expected path. You think like, okay, I've got the first one from finding out what's running here. The second one would be like either you got into the container and the flag's in there, or maybe you got into the container and you escaped to the underlying node, and then from there taking over the controller. Like that seems to be kind of if I saw a cluster, that would be like the kind of ultimate end goal is like, can I get to control of the cluster, which is the Kubernetes control plane. So which goes back to your other point about like get to the control plane.
Yeah, and I will say that I've mentioned this before, but where Celestion is at right now, if I were in Celation's shoes as a CTF player, I would think about looking for the flag in my current presence and see like, is there a flag that's available? And I feel like Celestion is just kind of trying to move up to getting the highest level of access, kind of like last week, and then looking to like kind of retrospect, going backwards for the previous flags that were missed. And I'll admit I've fallen into this kind of bad habit doing Hack the Box, where like the systems that I play against right now, I kind of have fallen into this pattern of I'll get a shell, and instead of just immediately grabbing the user flag, I'll keep working until I privesc up to like a system shell or an administrator shell, and then I'll go back. But that doesn't always work out because sometimes there's like file system encryption, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not that I would expect to see that here in UHC necessarily, based on the fact that we haven't seen it previously, but sometimes that step of, or that, I don't know, that approach to not just taking a moment to smell the roses and capture that flag ends up causing extra work. And so I would think like if it were me playing, I would want to take a moment to at least grab the flag in in such a short time period of 3 hours or less with the CTF, and at least get that flag submitted so that I can move up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I would be grepping everywhere for that flag. Like especially if it wasn't already in first, right? Like Salesian's not in first right now, just due to the time element.
Nope,
so
It's gonna cost me 80 coins. That's 40 minutes of work.
Waid is in the first place. Waid is still in the first place. And just so y'all know, we are entering the last 30 minutes. We are late game right now. So if people don't start submitting flags, Wade's probably gonna take that one home.
I put 100 on Waid just for that. I was like, people are really struggling with this one. I'm gonna hold out here.
I thought you bet 100 on Waid just because it rhymes with date and you're a rapper.
That too. I do appreciate that. There's a certain kinship there, you know.
And the bets were opened to an hour ago, and now they're just closed. So for obvious reasons, in the last moments of the championship, you can't bet anymore.
Yes, yeah. like we see Salesian, or we see like whichever player get like the root flag displays on their screen, and we're like immediately like invest. Okay, so given that we've only got 30-ish minutes left, I would like to go get another bourbon. Can y'all cover me for like 5 minutes while I go refill my drink?
Sure, baby.
Only if you bring me one.
Okay. Yes,
right.
Bourbon over IP. I believe that is RFC 9999999, right?
Yes, yeah, which is exactly the opposite number of nines that I'm gonna have after drinking bourbon. My uptime is going straight down.
Bourbon that I'm drinking is I think it's called Old Forester, and it is 1920 Prohibition style is the particular version of it. I don't know. It's really strong, so I put an ice cube in it.
It is horrific. I took a sip of it and I almost threw it up. I felt my entire body just consuming in fire. Like, what the fuck is this shit, David?
That's.
It was recommended at the store, so I bought it.
Do you know that here in the United States we had this like prohibition time? Like, what is going on, bro? Like, why?
Wild Turkey 101, big fan. I used to buy it by the handle and get faded. It was my economic get faded bourbon purchase for sure.
You're free to go. Go get your drink.
Okay, I'll be BRB.
All right.
Angel's Envy is wonderful. At the last DerbyCon, I went to do the Angel's Envy tour, and it was wonderful. It was really cool to do the tour. I also did the Stitzel Weller tour. Yeah, and it was wonderful. I only have like a little bit of bourbon left because the last time I bought bourbon was last year in Kentucky. So
I don't know any of the brands here, but I am a huge fan of Chivas. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I've not.
It's CHIVAS, Chivas, and that's a popular brand, at least in so yeah, that's a popular brand, at least back in Brazil. It is a popular brand. I know if it is also popular in a few other places in Latin America, but that's really good. That's a really strong. I think it's whiskey actually, not necessarily a bourbon. But I love that crap, and I just drink a lot when I'm having like a rough day. It's been a day, so it's a day that requires bourbon.
Oh, it's a scotch. It's a blended scotch. That sounds pretty wonderful.
Yeah, it's really good. All right. We are now officially getting into our last 30 minutes. And I would like to ask you, what is the what is the like coolest CTF that you have ever played? Like the best one that you have ever played, in your opinion?
I have one specific challenge that I love. I'm gonna tote two things. The first I'm gonna tote is a CTF challenge that I made with a coworker last month. Or I guess it was in October, so 2 months ago now. We created a like fake TV station that we streamed on Twitch, and we embedded like broadcast hints into the show. So like we had like old vintage commercials. We used Duck and Cover, which is like a 50s era.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
And then we had like we did a custom off-air pattern that had QR code chunked up, and you had to rearrange it to get the first flag. There was another one that was like I called my sister and I was like, hey, I need you to get your kid. She has like a 5-year-old. I need her to say 0 through 9 and Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot, because I wanted to be able to use her voice as a number station to convey a hexadecimal thing. And it's impossible to get a 5-year-old to say A, B, C, D, E, F with like enough enunciation to understand it. And then we had another part, the final part, like hooked up to a phone, and you had to call the phone and take down Morse code off of the phone. It was really fun. It was a pretty out there kind of. It's not a traditional style CTF, but it was a lot of fun to make. It was a lot of fun to see people playing. But my favorite CTF my favorite challenge I've ever done was this. I've got to go look up what it was called. I think it was called Find Phil. And it was from a relatively small CTF, or I think it was a CTF that was meant to be for relative beginners. But it was like a rabbit hole style challenge. So they gave you a file, and you had to unzip, or you had to find that it was a zip file. They gave you like an image that had a zip file in it, and you had to find that and then unzip it. And then it took you to it was like a puzzle, almost like a jigsaw puzzle that you had to put together out of these little image chunks. And that took you to another page, which then took you to a fake company's Facebook page, and they had fake employees, and you had to create a fake ID badge that had the user that you were supposed to be posing as, plus a certain QR code to basically get yourself embedded into the company's address book. Then once you were in the address book, there was an app that you could download to talk to the other employees, and you had to download the app and reverse engineer it to find the credentials. It was like this whole long rabbit hole, but it was so much fun. It was like easily my favorite CTF challenge I've ever played.
Oh,
have
wow.
Have you ever played any of the Sans holiday hack challenges?
I have. Yeah. I played a little bit of it last year. Or maybe it was the year before that. I've played them a little bit. I've never gotten super far in them. I think part of it was because I would like travel home for the holidays and stuff, and so I didn't have as much time in December. But yeah, I love the whole vibe of the holiday hack challenges.
Do you remember this one?
Oh,
yeah,
from HushCon. Oh yeah, I forgot about. Oh man, that whole challenge set was awesome too. I think everything that HushCon did that year. Okay, the only thing I didn't like about HushCon that year was that the team that won hacked the scoreboard and leaked all the flags and then submitted them. And that's in scope at HushCon. That's allowed at HushCon. So my team got second place because of that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And Matir in the chat saying Holiday Hack Challenge coming back soon. And I believe that it is going to be released this week. Spoiler alert, new dual core song in the soundtrack for the Holiday Hack Challenge. Probably, in my heart, I love Most Wonderful, the first song that we ever did for the Holiday Hack Challenge, because the drums on it are just so banging. And I was like, oh my God, these freaking drums. I really like the song that we did last year. I think this song that we did, it's like a second place for me. Like it doesn't beat out the drums from Most Wonderful, but it's like it's solid.
Way
The
to
beat's
really
really
sell
cool.
your way to really sell your stuff there, bud.
Go check out my rap music. It's second place. But Holiday Hack Challenge is a wonderful CTF for folks getting started, I feel like, because they give you like educational materials that apply directly to the challenges. I remember playing one year and there was a challenge where I think you had to like decompile an APK and then like recompile it and then like sign the APK. And I'd never done the signing part. And I guess I could have looked up how to do it, but I didn't realize that was a thing that you had to do. And so like the materials that they link you to walk you basically through how to solve the challenges, just kind of in a different framing. And so I always like that about Holiday Hack Challenge. There's like a variety of challenges, but you're not completely on your own. And so for folks getting started, I think it's a really good CTF to start with.
Yeah, I enjoy it, and I enjoy like the integration. I think with like just the level of detail that goes into the Holiday Hack Challenge. Like it feels way better than just like your typical like Jeopardy style game. You know, it really feels like it's pulling you into the world of the challenges that you're working on, which is really. I like before I got into hacking and like computers as a career, I was pursuing an English degree because like I really love like the narrative and telling a story, and seeing like Holiday Hack Challenge I think is one of the best examples of that in the CTF space. So
absolutely. There's a couple different points there, but sorry, before I continue on Holiday Hack Challenge, I just wanted to point out that on Waid's screen, we're seeing that Waid has received an email that has an IP address for, I guess, the like the control point for the cluster. I didn't really catch exactly what it was, but now my thought is that if you've got this specific target of like which IP address is controlling the Kubernetes cluster, and you already have like a some kind of shell somewhere, then you can use that presence in order to then target the Kubernetes control point. So yeah. I think we might see Waid kind of progress a bit further here, hopefully in the near future. I know we've only got 25 minutes left, so we'll see. It's definitely coming down to the wire.
Yeah, I think Salesian has the same. I don't know if he went through the same process, but he's doing a new full Nmap, so I suspect he's also found another host to work on.
Nice. All right, so yeah, getting that pivot, expanding that presence inside the network, awesome.
Also, I would like to remind y'all, stay with us till the end, because at the end here we're gonna join ourselves with our Brazilian live stream as well, and then we're gonna interview not only the winner, but we're gonna also interview.
Let's pop up to Salesian.
Yeah, Waid just dropped.
Yeah, I hope he comes back.
A lot of people dropped. Like three and four, anyways.
It's monsoon season right now in Sao Paulo, I think. So
it is.
Maybe the infrastructure is getting a little shaky.
But not all of them are from Sao Paulo.
Right. Yeah. So, maybe the ones that are from Sao Paulo dropped.
Yeah. So just stay with us, because at the end, we're going to join into the Brazilian channel as well from Hacking Esports. And there we're going to interview not only the winner, but also Cadu. He is the one that puts, all the machines up for the CTF. He builds all of the infrastructure for the CTF. And he's also going to come in whichever flags the winner doesn't know how to go through, doesn't know how to do the walkthrough. Cadu is the one that's going to help us with it. And we're going to do it in both languages, Portuguese and English. So bear with us. I know the Portuguese may sound a little bit strange, but there is also gonna be a lot of English translations. So that's gonna be quite fun. So stay with us till the end.
Definitely, yeah. They switch back and forth, so don't worry. There will be, as Marina said, both English and Portuguese, and they just kind of like the winner will kind of walk through. In some cases, the winner speaks English as well. So like last week, Salesian would just say like he'd just switch over to English and say, "Oh yeah," and then I did this thing, and then he'd switch back to Portuguese and continue. But yeah, so definitely stay with us, because if you've been with us all this time, you owe it to yourself to figure out and to learn at least like what the challenges were and how to solve them. So definitely stick with us. In the chat, asking about the Holiday Hack Challenge. I think the way that they do it, if I remember correctly, is it runs for weeks, and then everybody submits their write-ups and they just publish their write-ups at the end, and then they link them in to the Holiday Hack Challenge folks. The Holiday Hack Challenge folks then review all of the write-ups and then select. I think they've got different categories as to like, the most innovative solutions and like the most complete and all of that. So you could work with other people on it. And we talked about this earlier, but I strongly recommend having other folks to work with on CTF or bug bounties, or just as you're learning as you go along, because you basically kind of like expand your brain power, right? You're like crowdsourcing with folks that you trust to help and work with you in your best interest.
Yeah, and I think I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I saw that the Holiday Hack Challenge was going to have a Discord this year.
Nice.
So there might be a place that, like, even if you don't know people in security that want to do this with you already. I know when I was growing up, most of my friends, even though that like everybody loved computers, but nobody wanted to learn how to hack them with me. Like that was pretty much just a solo thing. So like, if there is a Discord, you might be able to say like, hey, I'm pretty new. Does anybody else want to work on this? And even if you're working with other people who are new, like you both are going to know different sets of things. You're going to learn from the Venn diagram of what you both know. So
I put here our Discord link, Discord server link here, not only on the chat, but also on the screen. You can join the UHC Discord server, and you can talk with a lot of the UHC fans and CTF fans. They play a lot of other CTFs as well, such as Hack the Box and Try Hack Me. There are English speakers and Portuguese speakers as well in the Discord server. And from there, you can get to know more people in the community, playing other CTFs, and jump into other Discord servers as well. And I am Major also gave a lot of good tips here. You should definitely go find your DEFCON group in your area or in the closest area you can find, because usually they also have like a lot of cool stuff. They play CTFs together and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on our screen right now.
Well, I think it was Salesian was going over to the stream on Twitch, but then like they show ads in the middle of the stream. So I think we're catching the ads, unfortunately. But yeah, wonderful points, right? Like finding people that have the same interests as you can always be a challenge. Like I grew up in a place that fortunately we had a hacker meetup, and I helped run that hacker meetup, and that connected me to people that were also interested in hacking things. And then we were able to do CTFs together. We were able to work on things together. But if you don't have that, and obviously right now in a pandemic, like we shouldn't be out near people, then finding people across the internet is also really valuable. And so I would say, right now, don't worry about the local group as such. Worry about finding folks online that have your same interests and that you can work with, without fear of asking questions or being wrong in the suggestions that you provide. Jay Cool asking in the chat, how often do we do this? Every Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, but we're actually based on Brazilian time. So what is it?
It's 3 p.m. Pacific Time.
3 p.m. Right. Yeah. I don't know how to math. I don't know how to time zones.
I think it's because you went right and then had to come back left. It's a typical off by one error.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, we are based the CTF is run out of Brazil. So Brazil is UTC -3 or GMT -3, and they don't do daylight savings time. So in the US, we move our times based on whatever our time zone is or whatever our daylight saving stuff is. So it's always 8 p.m. Brazil time. And so right now it's going to be 5 p.m. Central Time. But then when we spring forward in March, I don't know. Whenever the times change, we'll be back to 6 p.m. Central Time instead of 5 p.m. Central Time. Oh, medium flag solved.
Yep, Waid just got it. Heck yeah.
Oh no! And also Silesian dropped. My coins.
Well, Wei just went for from 50 points to 200 points now, having the mid flag submitted. And man, what a time to submit this flag, because we are only 15 minutes away from finishing the championship tonight. So yeah, he's showing us the scoreboard. And no one else has that amount of points. Everyone else only have the easy flag with 50 points. All the other players with 50 points, and now Waid in first place still with 200 points.
Yos, get it. Also, Mick in the chat, Mick Colton, thanks so much for joining us. 2 a.m. in Ireland. Cheers to you, mate, for staying on late with us. Appreciate you all the way across the pond. Big ups.
Yeah, those are prime hacking hours right there, 2 a.m.
Yeah, this is go time.
So I just made our bot give us the Instagram link for Hacking Esports, but the truth is you can find Hacking Esports in any social media that you like. If you like Twitter, you can find Hacking Esports there. If you like, I don't know, YouTube or LinkedIn, you can find Hacking Esports on all of those. And YouTube especially has all the older and past editions, including the English and the Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese also in there. So you just have to type Hacking Esports, just like we have it here. And you can find us on social media, and you can find out about like what communities are our partners, and more about our info, and get to know a little bit more about everything that's going on in our live streams if you would like to keep watching.
What about Orkut? Are you on Orkut?
Only the
we used to.
are.
we used to freaking love Orkut, but it's discontinued now.
Oh,
we were very
no,
sad.
Yet another service killed off by Google. Yo, Tavo, thanks so much for joining us. England, UK represent. That's where my producer C64 is from. The talented half of Dual Core out of the UK. Lots of love. I love a ton of music out of the UK. Also, by the way, underground hip hop and grime and drum and bass and pretty much. I heard there's a rock group that came out of the UK that was also kind of cool. Some insect name. What was it? A Volkswagen car.
Oh yeah, the Volvo, right? No, not the Volvo.
Yeah,
the
Volvo,
Jetta.
right.
The Jetta.
The Jettas. The
Yeah.
Jettas, right.
Some
Ringo
Volkswagen car. I just named a
Paul
whole
and-
different car.
But yeah, thanks for everybody joining us, no matter where you are and where you're at and where you're from. We appreciate you. I always feel like that's the strength in hacking is like diversity, right? Like it's everybody everywhere. When I started hacking, I was doing dial-up stuff, and I was like hacking with kids in like Germany, and they were like speaking English, and I was like, this is amazing. Like what we were talking about with language stuff before. I was like, this is incredible. I'm like talking to somebody in Germany right now. We're like writing exploits together. We're writing programs together, and like they're halfway around the planet from me.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, I think it's one of the first hobbies that really went like international on like an individual level. Like, I think it was like one of the first hobbies, because you were just already interested in computers. Like you could just be talking to anybody. It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh, look at this, Oscryptor, hi from Australia. Tell us what the future is like. I know that you've already solved. Australia doesn't have COVID, so like, what is regular life like? Tell us about it. We don't know. We're in the U.S. where we have 250,000 cases a day.
Yeah, I've been outside 4 times in the last 6 weeks. So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I miss playing shows and I miss like seeing everyone, but also like being home is like I'm okay with it. Oh, what's up? Ambrose, what up? VC, Vancouver. one of my favorite cities. I love the Pacific Northwest, and Vancouver is like an amazing city. If I had to move to Canada, definitely in my top 2, Vancouver for sure.
I think I only know like 3 Canadian cities, so I guess I would have to put it in my top 2 as well.
You're like Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal.
Yep,
and that's
that was
all of
it.
Canada.
Yeah, and I would have second guessed about Montreal. I would have been like, I don't know, is that a city? Is that a
No, it's its own province, right? Or its own country, because it's Quebec and they want to be their own thing. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Tacoma? Hey, SeaTac. I'm a big fan. Thanks so much for joining us. Casting on him. Nice. I'm sure you're rolling natural 20s if you're casting. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. Wow, this is amazing. I can't believe that we have folks watching us CTF with us. This is badass. Cheers to all of y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. To catch up, we're watching Waid, who apparently is probably going to pull it out. I haven't seen anybody else like running with it. Wade's got the medium flag, only has the root flag left to go. Maybe root, I don't know. The hard flag left, and
only 10 minutes left.
So. Yeah, only 10 minutes. So, whoa, it's getting there. And the other thing, again, like I know I mentioned this before, but the other thing that I love here is Waid running Windows, right? Like I never, ever in my life, ever expected to see a CTF player using Windows as their main CTF platform. I always like have done everything in Linux. I go to Windows, when I need to like do something like Mimikatz or like some Windows specific thing.
So I don't want to say exactly what the medium flag was, Dave, but it had to do with getting email from the email service that they had the credentials to. There's some stuff that got emailed, and then it leaked the flag for them that way.
Hey, no flame wars in the chat. Save that for full disclosure mailing list or bug track or something.
I thought it was like an immunity Twitch channel emote or something with the lack of a space. I thought that was just like, intentional.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I will say that the immunity debugger was the thing that got me to actually start using Python regularly. Before that, I was like big fan of Ruby because of Metasploit, and I had used Ollie. I had my own like custom build of Ollie. And when Immunity Debugger came out and you could start doing things in Python inside of Immunity, like directly there with the interpreter embedded, I was like, okay, like I guess I should probably start doing Python stuff. And Immunity Debugger is what kind of pushed me over the edge into like doing Python.
Yeah. For me, Python was a text editor byproduct. I switched to Sublime Text and it had a built-in Python interpreter, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to learn Python. It was worth it too. I write a lot of Snake Boy now, so
yeah, Snake Boy. yeah, absolutely. I've definitely. I do AWS stuff now, so Bodo 3 is like is Bay. So I kind of am hell bent on Python stuff. I love Golang. I love all the languages. I do whatever. Marina, you're number one Bay for me. Don't Python ain't got nothing on you.
That's my boy right there. That's a good boy. Well
I don't want to get stabbed in my sleep. But yes, and I do remember seeing the like Winbag stuff as well. But Winbag was like my last resort. It was like if I can do it in anything except for Winbag, I will try to do it that way. But if I have to do Windybug or Winbag, then sometimes you just gotta suck it up, I suppose. All right, so I guess I'm gonna lose these coins that I bet, and Salesian's back.
You're probably gonna lose it. You're all okay. Nope. The scoreboard just went down now for the last time of the night, and we're not gonna have the scoreboard back to the end. So this final 7 minutes is offline on the scoreboard, and we just have to bet now If I would bet right now, I would say Waid. He has 200 points.
See, I was a smart horse. I bet I'm the one that was already in the lead.
Did I mention that I don't gamble? I hope this is evidence as to why. I totally this completely didn't come surface at the right time, but we were talking about PHP apps and how buggy PHP is and everything, and I kept thinking of it and forgetting to talk about it. But Dave had I think it was from Infiltrate. Dave had a talk with a couple other folks about how bad PHP was, and there was this wide scale survey of bugs in PHP frameworks, and it was just basically the TLDR is don't use PHP to build an app. That is the TLDR. It was very buggy, lots of bugs, and I totally kept forgetting to mention it because I kept getting sidetracked by other things, and I don't know, my brain just kind of ADHD, I guess.
Yeah. If you build your app on a house of cards, it's no surprise that eventually the house of cards is going to fall.
Right, the Chris Eng paper. Yep, that was it. Hack the box is PHP. IPSEC, don't say that.
Now we know there's room for competition. Before we weren't really sure, but now.
Oh my God.
No. I don't know. The new Hack the Box interface, it looks really, really dope. I like it a lot. I just wish it was more responsive. I'm so used to doing things in the original interface, and for example, signing in with my 2FA on the new Hack the Box interface, it breaks every time because I apparently type more than 30 words per minute or whatever. So
I must not.
Yeah,
I don't think I've logged in since the new interface. So
it's app. Well, if you log in normally, it still directs you to the original interface, but app.hackthebox.eu will take you to the new one.
Okay.
But every time I log in, I'm like, oh, my 2FA code, and then I type it in, and it's yeah, we only got 4 of the 6 characters.
All right, last 4 minutes, and I guess that's it. Let's see who else is still here. Oh, Salesian is back.
I do want to say the new Hack the Box interface is super dope. It looks really, really nice. And so I do look forward to them migrating to it.
Sponsor us.
Very beautiful.
Does that work?
Sponsor a dual core rap song.
Also that also
commission a dual core Hack the Box rap song. That would be amazing.
Can I commission a dual core Dade song that's just about how awesome I am? Because we can talk numbers, buddy. I might.
All right. Yeah.
Damn.
That sounds like the kind of thing I would invest in.
Here are RSUs in Dade stock.
I put out a snippet of a song that I've mostly got it written, but on Twitter somebody was like, what I need in my life is seeing you rapping with the bunny filter. And so I got out Snapchat and I rapped with the bunny filter, and it's from a song that I'm working on called Oh Dade, which plays on Oh Day and Oh Dade. I came up with it almost a year ago now, but it took me a long time to find it, and I was so excited for that. I'm excited to.
But the
I'm going to drop all my stuff.
Was totally,
bunny filter.
That was the thing. That was definitely the thing. All of your videos now, you need it. You got it.
It's cool too because it means I don't have to worry about trying to get my voice just right, because I know that the bunny filter is just going to distort the hell out of it. So.
Creatine, we are not the ones playing. We are only commentating. The ones playing are the people here on the Discord server. We had a lot of them. Each room had one. So we had 10 players throughout the night playing the CTF, and we're broadcasting their screens because they are streaming all on Discord. This happens every week. So if you want to, get together with us every Sunday and learn a little bit more about UHC and join us in the broadcasting, and we'll be here commentating all the CTF flags that's been going on, and we're almost reaching the end of it. Yes, some of the players do listen to the stream, but we don't know what the flags are going to be, and we don't know the resolutions, and it's not against the rules that we give hints unintentionally on the stream, and that's part of the mind game. We have actually two streams going on, the English one and the Brazilian one, and it's part of the game if they can listen to both of it, to both of them, to grasp some tips and some hints there. Plus, running against the clock, because this is a very short CTF and there's also a lot of other people playing. So, there's lots of strategy there. And we are reaching the final minute of our CTF. We are going to be transferred to the Brazilian live stream, where we are going to interview the winner, and we are gonna go, we're gonna have the walkthrough of the flags with the CTF creators and organizers as well. So stay with us. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. We're going to have both Portuguese and English going on in the same live. And yeah, wish us the best, and stay with us to learn a little bit more about the resolutions here.
Dave with a really good point in the chat about using Thunderbird to get the flag because it supports the auth. And that is like, I don't know, like for me, I have this like mental blocker of always trying to do everything in the terminal, like in the command line, where I'm like, yeah, it's like everything, it's all binary at the end, right? It's all ones and zeros. So like, why shouldn't I be able to do it with some like console program? Like, why shouldn't I be able to like write a script or use a C program or build a Go binary or like whatever to do this shit? Like, why do I need a full-fledged GUI app to do it? But sometimes the GUI apps do it well. And so, in this case, like if Thunderbird does the job, then do Thunderbird, right? Like I did a Hack the Box thing recently where there was a SQL server and sorry.
Denied.
Yeah. It's time. we can finish our chat in the other stream. We'll see you right there. See you in a minute.
Yes, we're waiting. Let's go.
Say goodbye.